Okay. Hi, guys. So now I am unmuted. So let's see if I can raise. Yeah, got that. Thank you, Matthew. So welcome, guys. It's the second day of the International Day of Calm and the Day of Calm Summit. It's actually not the second day of the day. That's yesterday. It's the second day of the summit. So we welcome all of you. Please feel free to share this out to your friends, your people. We are going to have some wonderful guests on today. And if you are ready to learn more about calm, being intentional with your day and with your mindset and your how you feel about and approach life, this is the day for you. So We have Jorge Vasquez coming up first. And hi, Linda. And he will be coming up first. Yes, thank you, Matthew, for that hashtag. I'm calm2. Share that hashtag. It's also our phone number, by the way, 862 I'm calm2 here in the United States. So we have a lot of things to go on, and we will be doing a special segment, if you stay till the end, all about how laughter is the best medicine. So stay till the end, plus all kinds of things I want to let you know before we get started with Jorge. And that is that we are really working hard to rescue our school for this year, the Brilliant Nursery and Primary School of Uganda. You'll hear more about that. If you want to donate, every little bit helps. Please go to rescueaschool.com. You'll hear more about that later. So now we are going. Oh, and let me pause to wish everybody a very happy Passover. If you celebrate, we have Easter coming up, Ramadan coming up, all wonderful celebrations around the world for us all to be happy, enjoy family, and be calmer. So a happy Passover to all of you. Okay, so let's bring up our first guest for today. His name is Jorge Vasquez, and Jorge is going to be talking about life balance. And that's something we all need spiritually, physically, environmentally, the balance we need to feel comfortable in our life and to feel, we'll bring this a little closer to me so you can actually hear me, to be really balanced and feel like everything's coming together. Because if you have one area of your life that's out of balance, you are not going to feel calm. We may feel calm with certain areas, but say we have a job we can't stand and we have to go to that job every day and we can't stand that job. It's going to be hard to feel calm. Say you have family issues going on. It's going to be hard to stay calm. So let's welcome Jorge and let's talk about life balance. Hi, Jorge.
Hello.
How are
Hi.
you? Good to see
Absolutely
you.
fantastic.
Great.
Likewise, great to see you, Celia.
Great. Great. Well, we're excited to have you here. And we all need more balance in our life. So, absolutely, this is a spot on topic for the Day of Calm Summit. And if you would tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, and then go on with your class.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, my name is Jorge Vasquez, or Coach Jorge Vasquez. A little bit backstory about myself. I am a United States Marine veteran of 8 years of service, 4 active, 4 reserve. I'm a father of a 13-year-old boy, and I am a life coach by profession. And my practice is focused on helping my clients achieve balance in mind, body, and spirit. So, and this is what I come here to talk to you about today. And we all, with everything going on today, conflicts, physical conflicts in certain areas, the economy, swaying up and down all over the place. And we've all experienced some type of loss, whether it be like family, friends, business, financial, things like that. So we've all experienced some hardship. We've all experienced some setbacks. And a lot of times we end up focusing on the things that are out of our control, right? And we can only control the 3 things: our thoughts, our words, and our physical actions. So those are the things that we should focus more on. When we focus more on those things, the things that are within our control, we find that we don't stress about all the other stuff that's inadvertently little, right? By focusing on 3 main areas, we can increase our state of calm, our state of relaxedness and still be aware to the things that's going on around us. So in those three areas, like I said before, is mind, body, and spirit. And the first thing that I'm going to talk about is mindset. But before I get started through those things, let me tell a little more backstory about my last learning experience. I call it my fall from grace 2019. Just to give it a nice little catchy ring to it, right? 2019, I was going through a huge transition in my life. And this is where I'm talking about where balance comes into play, because so many things were off balance that I completely lost myself. By then, by May of 2019, I had gotten divorced. I lost all my businesses through betrayal from people. Things that I thought people were going to do ended up not doing, right? Me focusing on things that were out of my control. And so many other things were happening. I ended up homeless. I wasn't able to get a job anywhere because it was a small town and everybody knew who I was associated with, and guilty by association. Nobody liked him, so therefore nobody liked me, and I couldn't even get anything done, right? So there I was, not knowing when my next meal was coming, not knowing where I was going to rest my head, having no place to go, losing both family relationship and business relationship and everything in between. And the trauma was so great that I completely forgot everything that I was taught, everything that I've learned since I started my journey on personal development at the age of 14. I've been studying, practicing, implementing, and teaching people through one way, shape, or form, mindset, fitness, and spiritual growth. Because my background since I was little has been traditional martial arts. And traditional martial arts is definitely a way of life. It's a cultural change. And it includes all three of those areas, a balance in mind, body, and spirit. So I've been doing this for decades. But despite doing this for decades, and this is where the phrase, even coaches need coaches, right? Despite all of these years, decades of knowledge and information, I still found myself in a pit of despair, not knowing what's going on, not knowing who I was anymore, because so many people were saying so many negative things that I lost balance. I lost balance in my mind, I lost balance in my spirit, and I lost balance in my physical self. So mind, body, and spirit. And today I'm going to do like a brief synopsis on everything. Of course, I can go into depths, but it's not just to teach a little bit about mind, body, and spirit, but also give you a couple of tips and tools that you can utilize to help increase your levels of awareness in these three areas. So in step one, let's talk about mindset, right? Our thoughts, our words, and our actions in this area as it relates to our thought processes on things. And it's very, how do I put it? There are so many areas of improvement, but it's basically, and I'm trying to do this so that it's in short terms, but I'm trying not to expand completely on it. Your thought process as you perceive things, as you gain knowledge, how you see the world through your eyes, through your lens, the knowledge that you have on certain things. And it's just the areas that you can do. I mean, let me do this. So here's a technique. Let me give you a technique that'll definitely help. Right. So I utilize this technique on a day-to-day basis. I incorporate all of my senses into one activity, right? And that activity is meditation. Now, I incorporate this in a sense because we need to focus on the things that are within our control, and just as much as the bad things are available to us, the good things are also available to us. So it is important for us to maintain our focus around those positive things. And I find it through my studies and my experience in practicing this, that it is so much so much better to incorporate all of your senses. Take example, this little object here. Now this object is a little stress ball, but what I associate to that stress ball is what's going to help me stay in a more positive state of mind. Now this ball, being malleable and all those things, it's the world. What do I care about? I care about spreading and sharing love, peace, and hope. These are the things that I do. So this ball now has associated with something I'm very passionate about, sharing my knowledge and my wisdom with those that don't have it, those that are less fortunate with the knowledge, experience, the education, things like that. So this is where I utilize this. Now I have a thought process that's positive associated with this ball. I also have something on this ball. Where is it? You can't see it. It's a little dot. It's a little dot right over here in the Caribbean. This is where I'm from. I'm from Puerto Rico. So this is one of the places in the world that I most cherish. It brings me so many good memories, moments of joy, of happiness, there with family and friends. And then I also have associated with this a smell, one of my favorite smells. So now I've incorporated my sight, my touch, my thoughts, my smell associated with this ball. It smells like lavender. It's one of my favorite scents. And I also have, usually when I'm doing this, I have a bowl of my favorite type of fruit, whether it be slices of orange, mandarin orange, or it be grapes. So now I've incorporated all of my senses into one thing. And this is what I find helps me in this form of meditation, of thought. So stay in moments of gratitude every time I eat a piece of grape, every time I eat a piece of orange, every time I touch this ball, every time I smell it, every time I look at it. It reminds me of something that brings me gratitude, it brings me joy, it brings me peace. And this is what helps me. One step that helps me keep my mind right is one form of meditation. Another thing that I do that I want to share with you guys is, let me put this down. When we were growing up, when we wanted to learn how to read, how to write, math, anything, when we were growing up, what did we have on our walls as kids? We had pictures of the things that we wanted to become. We had pictures of the alphabet and letters, numbers, anything that we wanted to learn was up on the walls. And somewhere along the lines, we just stopped. And I believe that once those things stopped, that's when we started shifting the mindset from I can to I don't know if I can. I don't think I can, because we start hearing negative things from 2, 3, 4, 5 people that we believe them. And this is what happens when you start believing someone's false words, something from their point of view, right? None of it was from your point of view. So it's something that definitely becomes detrimental to our futures when we start thinking about things from that other people are telling us as if they hold any type of validation. So this is one of the second thing that I want to talk about. Put things around you that help you stay focused on your goals that you want in the future. Keep the mindset on growth. So the only way that we're going to get better in this area is that we stop focusing on things that happened in the past and start focusing on things that we can positively affect in the future that are within our control. There's always variables. There's always going to be variables that happen that might deter us from doing these things. But what's within our control is keeping our thoughts and our focus on these areas, on these things. You can't see it. I don't have it behind me, but I have it on the other side of this room. I have my dream board. It actually takes up almost an entire wall. I have on the outer rim of my dream board, I have 5-year goals. On the inside rim of my dream board, I have 3-year goals. And in the very center of my dream board, I have my 12-month goals. And aside from that, I have my goals separately written down so that I can actually read them every day. I also have positive affirmations on the wall, framed, so that I can say them every single day. So this is some of the things that I also teach my son, to stay focused on the things that he wants. Stay focused on the goals and the dreams that he has. That way, one day, you have it on the forefront of your mind. What can I do today that'll help me reach this goal? And you'll always end up doing things day in and day out that lead you towards those goals. So those are two techniques that I share with people for them to do to increase their mental awareness as far as their mindset is towards themselves and growth in that area. To stay at a positive mindset, focused on the future, on things that's within your control to focus on, and to stay in a place of gratitude, which also ties in a little bit with spiritual growth, but I'll get to that later. That's the last topic. The next topic that I want to talk about is the body. Now, the body is the vessel that we use, or that we have, that houses both the spirit and the mind. So how important is the body to maintain a good area, or a good wholeness or oneness with all three? The body has to be in really good condition to operate, to function properly, to function normally. And this is some of the things that we need to keep mindful of, because as we get older, our body stops producing certain things. It stops producing like the B vitamins and vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin A, all sorts of things. For men, testosterone counts go down. For women, estrogen levels fluctuate like crazy. And it causes our bodies to do things that we didn't know that it could or couldn't do, and etc. So it's important for you to know what's going on with your body as you get older. And the only way to do that is to increase your knowledge on fitness and nutrition for which you are, you're male or female. So our bodies are ever changing, and you always got to pay attention to the things that you eat, pay attention to things that you do. And as you get older, the ailments that you have, or the physical injuries that you have. In my personal life, I am a 90% veteran disabled. I have both injuries that you can see and that you can't see. And because of these injuries, it restricts my physical capabilities. I can't do the same exercise that I was doing when I was 18 and 19 to get in shape. I have to do modified techniques. I have to do modified things. And getting some blood work done, I found out that my body is deficient in B vitamins. So now I need to do supplementation as well, just to keep those levels normal. So in 2019, during this life-changing event, this last learning experience, I was 278 pounds, 36% body fat. Now I'm 202, and I fluctuate between 198 and 202, and I fluctuate between 20 and 22% body fat. Because of these limitations that I have, I can only do certain things at a time. It's just going to take me longer to get to my end state goal, but I will get to my end state goal. And you just need consistency and determination to do that. So my first recommendation, find out what your body is deficient in. Go to your primary care provider, get some blood work done, and find out what your body's not producing at normal levels, right? So that you can implement a supplementation program with your nutrition program. Not a diet, not a fad, a nutrition program, because your body does need healthy fats, it does need proteins, and it does need carbohydrates. And depending on your meal preferences or dietary preferences, you're able to get all of those things from different foods. So there's another one. Find a good nutrition program that's best suited towards you. So you need to go to a nutritionist, certified nutritionist, or a you go to your primary care provider and get a consultation to a nutritionist, not someone that's certified in nutrition, but someone that's 10 years plus in the education field that knows the biological structure to the T of everything. Now, granted, depending on how long the nutritionist or certified nutritionist is, he or she probably has the same, if not more, knowledge, because that's something that they're very passionate about. So that's the key factors there. Find someone that has the knowledge and experience that'll help guide you to the areas that you want. And you'll find that easily from just doing some research communications and finding out what they have. So, and that's step number one, because nobody's going to take care of you better than you. And you got to pay attention to all the little things that happen, what your body is doing, not doing, what you find out that you can and can't do anymore, and then start moving from there. So you can't go forward until you know where you are. Once you know where you are, then you can make plans towards going positive steps in the future. So, and you got to pay attention to what you're putting in your mouth, because what your body does not use, it stores. And guess what it stores it as? It stores it as fat. So if you're eating too much, your body's just going to end up storing it as fat, and you're not going to be able to move forward, because you're going to always find yourself stuck. And there's other variables that play into effects, but this is one of the variables that a lot of people think, oh, I need to eat more and eat more and eat more. Unless you're trying to gain a lot of weight, like you're unhealthily skinny, then you need to gain mass. But there's a healthy way to do it. And that's another one. So physical activities based on what you do day to day, this is where it takes into account. Because if you live a completely sedentary life, any form of movement will help, right? So if you've been doing fewer physical activities, I'm sure that 10 years ago, let's say if you were my age with 38, but when I was 28, I was doing much more physical activities. I was still active duty military at the time. I was doing a lot of physical activities. I was 185 pounds. I was doing a lot of physical activities, eating right, doing my fitness program and my stretching, because I'd already incurred 1 or 2 injuries in the military by the age of 28. So this is what I recommend that you guys do. You guys haven't been, and I say this loosely and I say this in general, 10 years ago, you're doing more physical activities than you are doing now. Through no fault of your own, life gets busy, depending on the job that you have, especially everybody working from home nowadays. We stay in a non-productive form. Our body stays in a non-productive form to our health, for future health. So it's very important that you do physical activities, and it's dependent on how sedentary your life is. So remember this quote: if you don't use it, you lose it. Your body will always find the path of least resistance. So if you don't use the muscles, and if you're always in, let's say, a seated position like we're in right now, the muscles around those areas that are bent will start to shorten and will start to tighten, causing you areas and problems in your lower back, your hip flexors. And your muscles will start to shrink, deteriorate if you don't use it. So it's very important that periodically you get up and stretch. You do some type of movement, get some 5-pound little dumbbells and move around, do some bicep curls, some tricep extensions, things like that. So nowadays, most people, as I was saying before, they work from home or they work in front of a screen. So they spend 8 to 10 hours in front of a screen. Then, their drive home, if they are somewhere else or if they're decompressing, usually spend about 2 hours in front of the TV. And then if you add the 6 to 8 hours of sleep, and let's be honest, most people are 8 to 10 hours of sleep, you're in between 18 and 20 hours of sitting or laying down. So that only leaves you 4 to 6 hours of doing physical activity. You see the off balance? You're doing, for 10 years, 20 hours a day has been sitting down not doing anything, or laying down not doing anything. You see the off balance? So it's very important for us to be aware of the things that we do or that we're not doing so that we can adjust accordingly. So muscle memory happens within 22 to 28 days of doing the same activity before your muscles stop seeing optimal results. So it's important, if you're doing a physical activity, to not change it every week, because you'll see a plateau because your body's used to changing things every week, but change it every 22 to 28 days. That way your body can maximize the amount of results you can get within that time frame before you give it a little bit of rest and change a variable in the routine. And there's so many variables in the routine. But I'll go into that a little bit later. There are jobs that are more physically demanding, like a plumber or line cook, a handyman, construction worker, a dance instructor does a lot of moving, or a personal trainer. Even personal trainers, when they're not with a client, they go in and they are doing a workout. So for those, you just have to change the things that you're doing, because again, you're doing the same thing day in and day out for however many years. If you're a plumber, let's say, you're in those positions fixing the pipes and doing whatever you can do, or your responsibilities as a plumber. Your body's used to doing those activities. After 28 days, you're not going to see optimal results. You're just going to sit there and maintain what you have until you start doing less, or you find easier ways to do things, and then your body stops using the muscles, as it were. So now you need to balance that offset. So now you need to take time away from what you're doing, outside of what you're doing, and dedicate some time towards your fitness goals, your nutrition goals, protecting the shell that our mind and spirit live in.
Absolutely. And so far, so much great information. But we have a lot of questions. So I wanted to just take a break and give you an opportunity to just address a couple of them, if you would.
Sure, absolutely.
So Matthew says, oh no, that I don't think that one's a question, guys. Hold on. Let me go to the next one. Oops, they showed and I showed. If we keep totems of the past, happy memories of Puerto Rico, nutrition, objective, focus of meditation, how do you balance this future focus with staying present, awareness of now, how to stay in the present moment?
And that's part of spiritual growth, which I haven't gotten up to yet. But yes, there are things that you do in spiritual growth to keep you in the now, because if you're too long in the past, you start falling into the negative things of the past. That is, you start falling into depression. But if you keep focusing on things of the future, the totems of the future, your goals and all that, you start stressing out and your anxiety levels go up. So that's part of spiritual growth, to staying in the now, staying connected, staying whole. And I'm getting there. That's my next. Okay,
well, that's a good segue.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
yeah, I just wanted to address it and give you a little break and a little question and answer. So we'll move on into, what's our next segment? Spiritual.
Yeah,
but you're finishing one. Okay.
Yep.
So I'll leave here and let you continue.
Fantastic. So, and the last point that I was making for the exercise routines, if you're living a sedentary life, there's things you can do during your work day to increase your physical activities. Case in point, let's say you're set an alarm every 55 minutes to get up, put on a catchy tune, your favorite music, and just dance for a minute. If you're working from home, this is the perfect time, because you have all the privacy in the world to just get up and dance without fear of anybody watching you and what you're doing. Just get up and dance, get up and move, do some physical activities. Like I said before, get a 5-pound or 2-pound dumbbell and do some curls and extensions, do some air squats and lunges, or just stretch, do some yoga and stretching techniques. That was my last little bit of the body. Now moving into spiritual growth. And when I say spiritual growth, a lot of people have this misunderstanding. When I say spiritual growth, they think instantly universe, religious beliefs. And that's one area of spiritual growth, but that's not the areas that I coach on. That's not the areas that I teach people. I teach on the other two areas. So upper, inner, and outer spiritual growth are the three. Upper is what it sounds like. It's a higher power. It's the universe, religious beliefs, God, Allah, Buddha. whichever your religious faiths are. In that aspect, I always guide people towards their religious or spiritual leader. And the other two aspects, inner spiritual growth and outer spiritual growth. Inner is what it sounds like, how you treat yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you take care of yourself, the things that you keep telling yourself. Those are the things that are very, very important. And that last question is, how do you stay grounded? How do you stay in the now, right? And this is exactly where this falls into place, because you have to pay attention to the things that are around you immediately, as well as take care of yourself. So the outer spiritual growth is your acts of service towards others, how you treat other people, how you speak to other people, how you engage with other people, your relationships, all types of relationships, not just intimate, because business falls under the category of outer spiritual growth, how you serve your clients, your customers. So it's very important, all of these areas, all these little intricacies, excuse me. So tip number 5 for spiritual growth is your inner spiritual work, how you're treating yourself, how you're talking to yourself. Engage in some activities that help you stay at peace. This is hobbies come into play here. Self-love activities come into play here. Relaxation. It is very important to not get lost in the past and in the future. So you need to engage in activities that keep you in the now. And I can speak from being an achiever, right? One of my traits, my characteristic traits, my high characteristic traits is achiever or futuristic. So I'm always thinking about things in the future. So that last question really hits home for me, because I have to do things that help keep me in the present all the time. I move from goal to goal without celebrating in between all those small little victories, or I used to from time to time. Now, because I'm more aware of it, I do things as I go to treat myself. So as I complete a goal, I do something that helps me recenter myself. I love being in nature. Being in nature is one of the best ways to keep centered, to keep grounded, and keep connected with the world around you in a good, healthy way. So I'm always in either a beach or at a natural spring or a natural park, things like that, doing relaxation meditations, keeping in the now. And then another technique that I use for inner spiritual growth, like I said, is the hobbies. Martial arts and dance is another hobby, and both of those could be therapeutic depending on the style of martial art, and very calming. Like I said, traditional martial arts has a lot of balance between the mind and the body. So there's a lot of meditation in traditional martial arts, whether it be Chinese martial arts or that side of Asian martial arts, or Japanese martial arts, which I do both Chinese and Japanese martial arts. So those are two things that I do towards my inner spiritual growth that help me move the needle forward. And I do recommend being in nature as one of my tips towards people. But if nature is not your thing, with some people just maybe have allergies and things like that, they can't be in nature so long because of allergies and things like that. But that also falls under nutritional habits that could help increase your body's strength towards those airborne pathogens, which I can help later on. But the other activities, some people like getting pampered, some people like getting their nails done, or the pedicures and things like that, or massages. You need to treat your body, treat your soul good. Another way to do the inner spiritual growth is reading spiritual books, things like that, to yourself, and being engaged with like-minded people, which falls into also the outer spiritual growth as part of relationships. To increase your outer spiritual growth, one of the things that I recommend doing is that find like-minded people in all the areas of your life and spend more time with those like-minded people. They're just going to help lift you up in the things that you do and the things that you want to do in the future. The support system is much needed, especially nowadays, especially with entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is one of the loneliest traits that people can engage in. Not many people understand. I mean, there's only select 5% of the world that understands what entrepreneurship is. And then even if they understand entrepreneurship, you have your own vision, and we can't expect other people to understand our vision. The vision was given to us. They might understand the vision a little bit, but they'll never get it completely. So it's important to be around like-minded people that can help elevate you. Another thing, another way to improve your outer spiritual growth is acts of service, donation of time, energy, effort to help those that are less fortunate. That's another way to increase levels of fulfillment, levels of gratitude, helping other people, serving other people. So I hope these tips and tricks were able to help you move the needle even a little bit, because that's all it takes. A little shift constantly will change the entire trajectory of where you're going and where you're heading. So keep that in mind. Focus on the things that you can control: your mind, your body, your spirit. Thank you very much, everybody, for allowing me to speak with you and to share you some tips and tricks on how to balance your mind, body, and spirit.
Thank you, Jorge. So informative and helpful. And I think some of the things you said, which people don't usually recognize, is how you mentioned acts of service for others, going, going to different places to support people that are less fortunate or troubled or sick. And these are also, great things to do with kids. We want to teach our children to recognize the abundance they have, to see, where they're fortunate and recognize that. Don't just expect it. Don't just, well, that's how it is, and I'm great and you're not. And when we see others and we appreciate that, it really makes a mindset change for adults as well as children. I remember one time I was driving with my grandson, and I'm always one to keep water, snacks, stuff like that in the car if I pass by someone who's homeless. And we drove into Walmart, and he saw a man with a dog sitting by the side of the road. He assumed he was homeless. Honestly, I don't know if he was homeless or he wasn't homeless, or he was just a man sitting with a dog. And he asked when we go into Walmart, now he was 5 years old at this time, and he asked if we could buy him something to eat. And I was like, of course we can. And we bought him like one of those pre-made subs, and we bought his dog some food and some water bottles, and we gave it to him. He was very thankful. And like I say, I don't know if he was homeless or not, but it didn't matter. It was just that thought of kindness, just that a 5-year-old could just extend his compassion to someone else, because we're not born with compassion. We learn compassion. And that he had recognized the needs of another. And that's so important. We have a statement.
Absolutely. And I do the same with my son, just while we're reading the statement. My son comes with me everywhere I go, and more often than not, I end up giving someone hopefully some inspirational words, as well as showing acts of kindness and generosity. And my son, hopefully it stays with him for the long run as often as I can.
Absolutely. And when Wendy and I did the class yesterday on Calm Begins at Home, she was talking about show and tell with children, and meaning that you show them by your actions and then you talk about it. And that's exactly what this is all about, is you being the type of person you want a child to be. No matter what walk of life you're in, they're all watching us.
Yeah. And the quote comes to mind, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Yes. And isn't that what we're here for?
Absolutely. We're here to help make the world a better place for everybody. It's not about the individual. It's about mankind as a whole.
Absolutely. And someone on Facebook said a friend of mine's church is focusing on acts of charity for Easter, giving time, not just money, and they're loving it. And that's important, is
Absolutely.
the giving of your time. It's frankly, if you have the money, easier to just hand over $10. But if you can actually guide someone and give someone a bit of your time and share a smile with them, it's all contagious. It's all going
Absolutely.
to make their day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then time is our most precious commodity. It's the one thing that you cannot put a price on. So to be able to give that value, knowing that this is something that's intangible, you can't put a price on it. And people remember and cherish those moments and those memories for as long as they live. So
Absolutely. And in referring to balance, often people will say, that my day's just too busy. I just got too many things to do. And yet, we all live with the same 24 hours. And often, the things you spoke about don't require hours at a time. And not only can you take a break for 5 minutes and meditate or do a bit of exercise, take a walk, go out in the fresh air, refresh, come back, your brain needs it. Your brain needs that ability to reset, recharge. If you're ever looking at a piece of work or reading something and you're like spaced out and you've like read the same thing like 10 times and you're like, I can't figure this out. And you walk out
that's a
of
sign.
whatever room you're in, right?
That's a sign to take a break.
Exactly. That is your brain saying, take a break. And then you come back in and boom, like it's in neon lights.
Yep. And then that's another thing. So when people say, oh, I just don't have any time, that's a mindset. That's an imbalance in their mindset, because they do have the time. They just need to prioritize. And people overestimate what they can do in a week, and they underestimate what they can do in a year. So they put too many things on the one day or the 1 week in activities that they overwhelm themselves and they don't have any time to do anything else. So those that say, I don't have any time, reevaluate how you operate on a day-to-day basis and decrease the amount of key activities for that day down to 3 to 5 activities. If you're doing more than 3 to 5 main activities a day, it's time to reevaluate, slow down, because 3 to 5 activities a day, I'm not saying that you do those 3 to 5, let's say it takes you 2 hours to do those 3 to 5 and then you stay unproductive the rest of the day. No, that you can start working on tomorrow's things, but your main focus is on today's 3 to 5. Once you complete those 3 to 5, then you can work on tomorrow's.
Absolutely. And and parents do that with children all the time. They overschedule kids. And then everyone's stressed out. That's half the problem, is we are so overscheduled, and from a parent's point of view, or someone who's not a parent, half the time you feel guilty, or you feel like, well, I shouldn't be relaxing. Why should I be relaxing? I should be working and I have things to do. And if I sit down for 10 minutes, well, who is going to clean up the kitchen dishes, or who is going to, get started on my next project? I can't take a break. And the reality is, you're so much more productive if you do take a break.
Yep, absolutely. So much more. And it was, I can't remember the exact story, but it was a story of two lumberjacks. That's the word I was looking for. Two lumberjacks. And they're both working. One continued to work throughout the day, and the other one took smaller breaks. And by the end, the one that kept working through and through until he couldn't anymore had no choice but to sleep. And while he was sleeping, the other lumberjack made it 2 times further than the lumberjack that kept pushing through. And this is another part of what I'm talking about with balance. If you keep going hard charging in one direction and you don't focus on the other two, say you're doing all your physical activities, You're doing physical activity after physical activity until your body can't do anything anymore. Guess what? Your body is tired. You're also going to be mentally exhausted as well. Your body's going to be like, I don't even have energy to function up here. We need to shut down.
Right.
And you're so physically exhausted now, it's going to start eating at your spiritual strength, your willpower, and you're going to end up crashing. So you need to find balance. It's good to go hard charging and what's something you're passionate about, but recognize when you need to stop and when you need to take care of other areas, because your relationships, your outer spiritual growth, the people around you that need you, they need you to stay focused on a balance of all three so that they can receive what they need as well, which is your time. Like my son, if I was hard charging at work all the time, my son needs me. That's an outer spiritual growth relationship that I need to nurture.
Absolutely. And so often with creating a lifestyle like that, it just leads to overwhelm. And overwhelm for most people causes shutdown. You walk away,
Absolutely.
you don't do anything. And then you feel guilty about being unproductive. And you don't sleep well. Like it affects, like you said, the total health, spiritual, physical balance of you. Because
Absolutely.
then that stress causes illness. And then you get sick all the time. And it is a balance of it all in order for you to stay at your maximum operating level, which people think is not about rest. And it's totally about that.
Absolutely. Rest is the most important thing. Without
And
those moments of rest, all three areas start.
exactly. Exactly. So let me ask you, I think we went through the questions. Is there one more piece of advice? You gave everybody so much information, but one more thing you want to leave everybody with so we get those dopamines running in their brains and smiles on their faces before we go on to our next speaker?
So one of the quotes that I love saying is, and I think I've shared this one with you before, but it's just such a powerful one to get you thinking. You don't drown by falling in the river. You drown by staying in the river too long. That's the quote. You don't drown by falling in the river. You drown by staying in the river too long.
And it's a great quote. That is a great quote. And I thank you very much for that. And thank you for being here, Jorge. And how can they reach you if, for people that want to reach out to you? The best way to reach out.
The best way to reach out to me would be the website that you see on the bottom of the screen here, jvcoachingandconsulting.com. Through that, people are able to reach out to not just my email, but also my social media. Everything is attached to it. So that's the best way to reach me. In one way, shape, or form, I'll receive your message. And for those that are in the International Day of Calm, I wanted to give them a gift. For those that showed up, those that played full out, those that are engaging, I want to give them a free copy of my online course, right now valued at $397. I want to give it to them for free. So, and that'll help them get back up, because success is standing. So it'll help them get from disaster to destiny.
I love that. And thank you so much for the offer of your course. And how do they go to your website to receive that?
I will send you the link and
Okay.
the promo code that they need to use in order to make it free of charge.
Sounds wonderful. Very, very generous. We appreciate it, and very helpful to all of us. You have some very big thank yous going on. And everybody enjoyed having you here. And thank you. I appreciate it. And I hope you hang around for more of the conversations going on and enjoy the second day of the Day of Calm Summit. Thank you, Jorge.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye. So, pretty wonderful stuff. And I hope you guys learned a lot and excited to hear about the way you can find more balance in your life and be more intentional. It's all about intention. It's part of the fourfold mission that we have here in the Day of Calm. really combining responsibility, and that responsibility is to you, your personal responsibility. That's for health, that's for spirit, that's for, the physical body. Really incorporating all of that and everything that goes along with it, your finances, your career, your family, your relationships. Being intentional, not just about parenting, but about your life. But if you are a parent, being intentional about your parenting, making sure you're creating a cooperative and harmonious home, having an educational system that's expressive, that allows children to be curious, not just structured, boring education that they can't get into, that they don't find fun and enlightening. And of course, safety and security for all of us, ourselves as well as the lives of children, because this world's kind of out of control with that. And that's how we are going to create a better generation than before and continue to create better generations as we move forward. Because once we affect the children of today, they become the adults of tomorrow. They are then affecting the children of tomorrow, and so on, 7 or more generations to come. So it's got to keep you moving and really enjoy life as it is and recognize that you're a role model for everyone else, adults and children that see you. Okay, so before we move on to our next speaker, I really want to encourage all of you to check out our mission for the Day of Calm, and that is our Rescue a School project. We are supporting a school in Uganda, and it means so much to us if you would really pay it forward and donate whatever you can. We're going to watch a little video, and then you can go to rescueaschool.com. All kinds of choices how you can give, and you can make these children's world a whole lot better. So take a little minute and watch this video. They're a wonderful school, and they need our help. They need permanent buildings. They need shoes. They need supplies. They need teacher salaries. They need just about everything that will support them so that they can nurture and educate these children that often their life at home is very desperate. Children are being handed off, sold for money, handed to early marriage. And when John Paul started this school, he started it with a focus on the girls in the community because they were absolutely mistreated and they needed a place to go to nourish, to flourish, and to thrive. So I beg of you, I really do request as little as you can give or as much as you can give. Go to rescueaschool.com and help the effort that these teachers are doing for these kids. We appreciate it. Okay, so we are getting ready for our next presenter who's not in the backstage area yet. So hopefully he will be here shortly. And in the meantime, I also want to take time to thank our sponsors because without this sponsorship, we could not continue. Curtis and Ginsburg Architects, they will be the one that are the architectural team for the school in Uganda. They are the top eco-friendly architects out of New York, but worldwide. Me, Mandawi Enterprises, all about empowering people through business and family. iSork, Innovations of Work, the mastermind behind the technology that we have here. Billie Jean is marketing. If you don't know Billie Jean, you don't know marketing. Check them out. Kasturi Ram College of Higher Education in India. That was our kickoff location for the Day of Calm early in the morning Eastern time on April 5th. Justin Kaplan Pro, a mastermind for branding and new business startups, and the International Society of Nature and Forest Medicine, all about how nature is the medicine that can save and help all of us. So we appreciate all of our sponsors. And if you're looking to sponsor and to encourage and to promote this Day of Calm and change the world, we invite your sponsorship by going to dayofcalm.org. Okay, so, okay, hold on. Do you see Harry? He says he's in. He can see me. Hold on. Okay, hold on. We're having technical difficulties. I need to send him a link. So I think he's not in the backstage. Be right back.
Yes. Bring them back.
And we're back. Got our little technical difficulties worked out. Harry, how are you? One of my favorite humans in the entire universe.
Hi, Celia. I'm so happy to be here. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited. I'm tuning in from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and I couldn't be more excited to share with you all today.
Well, we are super excited to have you. And if you would, I'm going to give you a chance to tell a little bit about yourself and then go into your training. And I'm excited to be with you on this training, and whatever we need to do, we're doing it together. So I'm going to let you take it away, Harry.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Let me just make sure my mic is good to go here. Can you see me well, Celia?
We see you well and hear you well.
Okay, great. All right. So, hi, everyone. My name is Harry Lopez. I am, as I said earlier, currently in Kuala Lumpur, and I'm based in Chiang Mai, Thailand. So, I've been in Thailand for the last 4 months. I'm originally from Miami, and I consider myself now a traveler, but really more so a time traveler. And I've come today to share some pieces of wisdom and some medicine that I've learned and gleaned throughout this journey of life, and just been so deeply humbled by my experience traveling internationally, learning learning from so many incredible people that I've met along this journey. So I'm so excited to connect and to share more. And I don't know if there's a chat section where I can see where folks are from, but if you'd like to chat in any way, feel free to do so. And I'm excited to share a little bit more about the power of silence and the ways in which silence has supported me in my life and in this journey. And today I want to make the case for silence being the tool that really supports us in taking back our power. And I'll say that again, silence as a tool to support us in taking back our power in this lifetime. And so I'm going to go into more information about the silence, and I'm going to take us into a relaxation, into a meditation where we're going to be able to really deepen into the stillness and the silence. But before that, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what I've learned about the silence. So in Sanskrit, there's a word for silence. It's called mauna. And in Tantra as well, it's called mauna. And mauna refers to fasting, like a fast from words. And how fitting that today I'm going to be speaking about the silence and fasting, because right now Ramadan has just happened. Today, Passover. So there's a lot of celebrations and holidays that are ongoing and underway, where folks are really tuning into the purification of self, purification state. Oh, hello, Chicago. Welcome. Hi, I'm Johnson. So the silence is really just tuning into the silence is powerful for us to support in the purification of ourselves. And as we know, so much of our experience here is really tuning into the wisdom and the intelligence of our bodies. So today is really about dropping into our bodies, because our bodies house so much wisdom, so much knowledge, and so much of our practice and our learning and our conditioning here as humans has been a lot of taking us outside of our bodies. And a lot of the medicine here is really tuning into what does the body have to say? What does the body want to express? What messages do I get to tune into and listen to? And that's the power of the silence, that we're able to really listen. So let's go ahead and drop into the silence. So wherever you are, I just invite you to get comfortable. Placing both feet comfortably on the surface of the earth, facing your palms, maybe on your lap, facing upwards or downwards, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And really arriving here in this moment, arriving here fully in your body, slowing down time, slowing down the sensations that are running through your body, not needing to be anywhere else but right here. Tuning into the sounds around you, the air conditioner, footsteps, birds chirping. Also feeling your sit bones on whatever surface it is that you're sitting on or standing, feeling yourself being held by the earth. And I invite you to take the deepest inhale you've taken all day. And just for a moment, let's drop into the silence. And I invite you to repeat after me. I embrace the silence. I embrace the silence. I embrace the silence. And as you utter those words, I invite you to just breathe in through your nose, expanding the spaciousness around your body, lifting yourself up into your freedom, into your joy, to your possibility, and holding it for a couple of seconds at the top. And when you're ready, fully releasing out of the mouth, audibly exhale out of the mouth. Until you have nothing left. Exhale until you can exhale no longer. And going ahead and continuing to have your eyes closed. And take a moment to connect to why you decided to join this in the first place. Connect back to your purpose. Connect back to something that you're grateful for in this moment. Maybe a child, maybe your child, maybe your parent, maybe a recent win or accomplishment you've had. And taking a moment to connect back to yourself, purity of you, free from any limitations, any misidentifications that are not in alignment with the truth of who you are. Taking a moment to just see yourself in that state and just breathe deep presence into that. And fully releasing. And I'd like to create some friction here. So I want you to just put your hands together and just go ahead and rubbing your hands together and creating some heat with your hands. And slow and quickly pick up the pace until your hands get warmer and warmer and you start really, really building the heat. As I like to say, nothing cooks without heat. And once you've got some really good heat, going ahead and stopping and putting your hands over your eyes and just warming up your eyes, regenerating, revitalizing your eyes from the inside out. Taking a nice deep inhale through the nose with your hands on your eyes. And really drop into this exhale, audibly out of the mouth. And at your own pace, slowly begin to take your hands off of your eyes. And whenever you're ready, at your own pace, come back to this room with the fresh eyes of a child. All right. Welcome back. I hope that was refreshing for folks. I'm so happy to be here with you all. Again, the silence is really how we take back our power. Because in our world, in our current world today, we are inundated with so much noise. There's so much distraction. And in the moments of or opportunities of dropping into silence and stillness, we're constantly bombarded with so much noise. Dopamine, social media, technology, to-dos, errands, you name it. This is the most distracted era of our entire lives. This is the most distracted community, distracted society that has ever existed. So you dropping into the silence is a radical act of revolution. It's a rebellion. And it's really about learning to appreciate the unappreciated. Because how often is silence appreciated in our society? It's not really, right? So when I first moved to Thailand 4 months ago, I was invited to go to a Tantra yoga, an ashram. It's called Mahasiddha Yoga, and it's led by some of the most beautiful instructors in the entire world that reside a little outside of Chiang Mai, Thailand, which is where I'm living. And it was my very first time doing a silent retreat. And if you've done a silent retreat, you know how powerful these experiences are. But this retreat for me was truly life-changing. And I left very different than when I came in. And I think during our experiences with COVID and different life experiences that we have, like there's opportunities for us to be alone, right? To be with ourselves. But how often do we completely disconnect from the world? Completely allow ourselves to, oh yay, please do visit in Thailand. I'd love that. How often do we allow ourselves to completely disconnect from all the noise that's coming at us, right? We are bombarded left and right. Like it's so easy for us in this conditioning to disconnect from the truth of who we are, to disconnect from our bodies, to be outside of our bodies. And so any moment that we are able to really tune into the silence is real medicine for us to really remember who we are. I like to say that to remember who we really are, because so much of this life can be really fast. So much of it can go so quickly. So when we really drop in, we're able to really appreciate the nuances, the beauty, the descriptions, the colors, the sounds, everything that is around us, like really tuning in to the reality and the truth that we are not separate from anything. We are connected to everything. We are connected to all life. It is no longer duality. It is no longer even quadrality. It is the totality of our experience, because we're totally interconnected. We are positive, high frequency beings who are multidimensional, and we are incredibly resilient, resourceful, and our bodies house all the intelligence that we need. And we can seek to nature to provide everything and all the answers that we're looking for, not outside of us, but within us, right? Because the biology of our bodies is the organism. It's far more intelligent than we ever give it credit for. The technology and the instrument of our bodies can support us in the regeneration and the revitalization of ourselves. And without us even realizing, without us even knowing, we are consistently purifying ourselves. We don't even have to do anything much to have that happen. It's already organically, naturally happening. The patterns and the things that have kept us in our quote unquote slave state are already falling away. And so much of us really tuning in is really dropping into silence and stillness. And for a lot of us, the silence and stillness is deeply uncomfortable. So we'll allow ourselves an opportunity to experience moments of it, but we won't allow ourselves to really experience the fullness of what we can really achieve with the silence. So the silence is a state of beingness. It's a way of being. Silence is not the absence, it's not just the absence of sound, but rather a state of being where one is fully present in the moment without the distraction of external or internal noise. And so really tuning into that, if we are to drop into the silence, we can remove the external noise from our lives for moments, but what about the internal noise, the internal chatter of the mind, right? Well, who do we be with ourselves when we have these limiting beliefs and these thoughts that often hold us back, that can be paralyzing? So my invitation for everybody today is to welcome the thoughts, welcome the internal chatter, knowing that it's perfectly normal, but to not identify, to not attach yourself to those thoughts, to see them as clouds, almost as a movie, just clouds passing by. It's just passing by. Or as one of my teachers says, they're just coming up and out. They're just coming up and out, wanting to be loved on, wanting to be witnessed, wanting to be experienced fully for their totality. Silence can be achieved through various practices such as meditation, mindful breathing, and other forms of inner contemplation. So even as we're here together, just be tuning into your own breath, knowing that the breath is medicine, that you can always come back to the breath. You can always come back to your inhale and come back to your exhale. Silence is also a really beautiful way to connect with the divine. So whatever form of connection you have to a higher power, source consciousness, unity consciousness, whatever God, supreme creator, the absolute, whatever it is for you, like the silence is a beautiful way to facilitate connection with the divine. By quieting the mind and letting go of thoughts and distractions, you can access a deeper level of consciousness and connect with the universal energy that permeates everything. In Tantra, silence can be used in conjunction with other practices such as mantra, visualization, and physical movement. By combining these practices with silence, you can achieve a deeper level of awareness and experience the transformative power of Tantra. So, I want to make the case that silence will support in 3 very powerful ways. So, number 1, the silence will support you in connecting with your intuition, with your thoughts, your feelings, connecting you with source consciousness. When we talk about intuition, one thing that I like to think about is that it's like your intuition is coming from, I like to call it the superconscious. Like you have these like hits, these knowings, these things that you can't even put to words, these like revelations and insights almost. The silence supports you in that. It's the it's the supporting you in the full purification of self. Next, number 2, the silence will support in the nervous system regulation. For so many of us, we're conditioned to just be workers, worker doers, worker beers, and so we're just working and doing and working very hard to accomplish and achieve and to get to somewhere. There's a really famous, or like one of those stories that I like to tell about these 2 rabbis that are sitting on a balcony, and they're talking to each other, these 2 rabbis, and they see this woman running down the street, and she's just running towards some destination. Like, she looks very exasperated and very much stressed out. And they look at each other and they're like, where is she going? Where is she going? Right? Like, where are we going? What are we doing? Why are we doing what we're doing? And oftentimes we're caught up in this unconscious cycle of just doing out of unconsciously seeking external validation and our power outside of ourselves, versus really being willing to slow down, drop into the stillness, and to question everything. One of my favorite spiritual teachers is Byron Katie. And if she's here, hi Byron. If you're a fan of Byron Katie's, hey. You can find more of her work on www.thework.com. Big fan. And she says that there's no new thoughts. There's just recycled thoughts that have just been constantly looping over and over and over again. She says that all stressful thoughts are just thoughts that have gone unquestioned. So I believe that the silence can really support us in questioning and beginning to inquire deeper and deeper into the beliefs, the thoughts that have held us enslaved in our own minds. And the slave state, that is a term that refers to this trance or this illusion that we often find ourselves in identifying with a limited perception of self, a smaller version of ourselves that holds us back from really tuning into the totality and the full experience of the embodiment that we can achieve in this lifetime. And our work here is really to come back to the embodiment of pure love, to embodying pure love. Because we came in as that. We came in as pure love as babies and children. And our work here is to continuously remove the layers and the separation and the patterns that have gotten in the way of us fully accepting and embodying and knowing that truth. So I believe that the silence can support us in nervous system regulation. And we look at our society and our world, and there's so much fear that is rampant. So much fear that holds us back from from giving ourselves the permission and the opportunity to live an optimal life. Fear of abandonment, fear of being ridiculed and rejected and exiled, fear of scarcity, fear of not having enough, fear of not being enough, and so on and so forth. And these are all programs of the ego, because the ego runs in the story of not enoughness. And what does the ego hate more than anything? Stillness, silence. Because in the stillness and the silence, the ego cannot continue running. We can really begin to detach and to drop into our own inherent truth and our own inherent love, which is such a beautiful thing. So beautiful that at any moment we can come back to the purity of ourselves. What a gift. And the more that we awaken within ourselves, the more that we awaken and embody the purity of love within ourselves, the more that we can support others in their embodiment and awakening and begin to light up the world by doing this. We can light up the entire world like fireflies. And that's what we are. We're here to serve. The reason for living is giving. We're here to give fully of our gifts and our talents and all of us and all of ourselves. Silence can also support us in presence and mindfulness. to cultivate a deeper sense of presence where we're not distracted by the external and internal noises, but to be fully present in the moment, fully present for the experience of life, to appreciate the beauty of our surroundings, and to cultivate greater clarity and appreciation. Oh, thank you, Isi. So let's take a moment to drop into presence. I'm going to do a breathing count for those that are here, and let's just follow along. We're going to breathe in for 6 seconds, hold for 6, out for 6. So whenever you're ready, let's begin. Closing your eyes if you'd like. Let's breathe in for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold for 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And out. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do one more round. In for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale out of the mouth if you'd like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just staying in silence here. Unclenching anything. Again, just welcoming any tension or noise. Whatever's here for you, just totally present to it. Being with it, not trying to get rid of it. Lovingly accepting it. Continuing the steady flow, inhales and exhales on your own. Knowing that in this moment, you are absolutely perfect and radiant. Any story outside of that is just a story. You can have compassion for the part of you that wants to identify with that, but it's already falling away. It's already your old slave self, your old self, limited self. This version of you knows all of it, knows the entire truth of your inherent worth, of your power, of your radiance. That if you want it, you can have it. That sure, they shine, but you can shine too. That there's enough room for you. There's no separation, no identification with any kind of scarcity or limitation or limited sense of self. That in this moment, your whole body is already regenerating. Because that's the power that you have within you. And how beautiful it is to know that. So breathe into that with deep presence, with love, with joy. And release. And I'd like to invite us into a tapping. So let's just grab your left hand out like this. And I just want you to begin to tap your hand. Just connecting back to self. And I want you to repeat, I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. We can go under the eye. I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Let's go to the forehead. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Let's go to the top of the head. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Sorry. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Chest. Sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Both. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. And just go ahead and wrapping yourself up in so much love. We all need a lot of love. We humans need a lot of love. And we start with ourselves. Just going ahead and wrapping yourself up. I'm sorry. I love you. I love you. And I invite you to just repeat any affirmations, words that you want to say to yourself. Oh, I'm so powerful. Oh, I'm so worthy. I'm such a phenomenal leader. I'm a beautiful daughter. I'm a beautiful son. I am kind and I mean well to the world. Whatever it is, going ahead and inserting it now. If it supports you to just continue tapping, whatever wants to come through you. I love 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 myself. 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 Hmm. Hmm. So, I just want to go ahead and start wrapping up. Today, I came to you to speak about the silence. Good, I'm so happy you like those incantations. Feel free to continue using those. I think they're beautiful ones to just come back to every single day. I believe that the silence is really the way that we can take back our power. I think that in tuning into the silence, we learn to appreciate the unappreciated. We learn to drop into our bodies, to connect with the divine, to connect with our intuition, to connect with source consciousness. We learn that it's a state of beingness. We learn to regulate our nervous systems. We learn to alleviate our stress and our anxiety. We learn that to drop into presence, to drop into the totality of our experience here, the universality of what it is that we're here to do, what we're up to in our lives. And we're able to really zoom out from this identification with a 3D self, or this small limited self, and really tune in to the vastness and the enormity of this entire life and this entire experience. So yes, coming back to the basics is so powerful, and there is deep magic and power and so many gifts in the silence. Thank you. And I'm open to any questions. So if anybody wants to ask any questions for Q&A, feel free to do so.
Thank you, Harry. Amazing,
Celia.
amazing program. And so relaxed that we're all relaxed. We're also we're all so relaxed we can't go on. I think we need a nap now. I think people truly love that. I think we have a question or we have a statement from Matthew. Hold on. It says masterclass in guided mindfulness meditation incorporated Advaita. I hope I said that right. Non-duality, pleasures of presence, object discrimination, loving observation of the illusions of self. Well done, Harry.
Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate that. I'm so glad you liked it.
Yes, and laughter is so healing, guys. And after our next speaker, I'm going to be talking all about how laughter is the best medicine. So stick around. But
it really is.
Harry, I wanted to talk to you about a few things that you mentioned and make sure that, see, we're all too relaxed to ask questions.
Where is this being streamed? Who's seeing this?
Streamed in various Facebook areas. It's streamed on YouTube.
Oh, wow, nice.
I think that's it. I think those are the locations. So I wanted to talk about you had talked about this is a good one that we can talk about that Anupam brought up. Social media comparison leads young people to rely on others' approval for self-validation and goals, leading to self-doubt. And just your thoughts on that whole impact of social media on our youth.
Wow, this is a really big conversation because it's one that is being had, I think, globally around the world with monitoring or conversations about what to do with Instagram, TikTok, not just young people, like someone just chatted in, but like all people. I think that we're all being influenced. We're all like the comparative mind is really, really kicking in. And a lot of us it's creating a lot of out of bodiness, like where we're not in our bodies, we are outside of our bodies. And we're looking outside of ourselves for that validation and those answers and that acceptance versus being able to really tune into ourselves. So I actually believe it's really quite harmful. If one doesn't have the attunement and like the mindset and the tools to be able to separate oneself from what is actually happening and not being in it, like being completely in it, it's really, I believe that it can have really detrimental effects on psyche, mental well-being, mental health. We're seeing that more and more, the statistics with mental health. So I believe someone said this once, the longer you spend on social media, the longer you should be meditating. And I think that there needs to be healthy policies. Like however long that if you're spending a lot of unhealthy time on social media or a lot of time on social media, I believe that everything should be moderated. Like you should create healthy policies for yourself where you're using it for good, right? So being a conscious creator versus just consuming. Like if you're going to be there, consume and create. See how you can continue giving, right? For the reason for living is giving. And also being able to separate yourself from any stories of the mind that say, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, I need to change my face, I need to put on filters because I'm not good enough. Like being able to see what the technology is doing, right? So this is a huge conversation right now. But I believe, again, the stillness is a really beautiful antidote to this, like really embracing silence. In fact, in Indonesia, they have a whole day, a national holiday that is dedicated to silence, where everyone just goes into just embracing the shh. And that's what we're wanting to do, is just shh to the mind, shh to like the clutter, the ego, shh. And sometimes it's helpful if you do that in your meditation, or if you go into the shh.
Yeah, taking out the trash.
Yeah, completely. It's so good to see you, Celia.
It's always good to see you, Harry. I love you.
I love
Uh,
you too.
We have another question. Any thoughts of literal breaks from talking therapeutic vows of silence? Sorry.
Okay. Any thoughts on literal breaks from
From
talking
talking. I guess from
therapeutic?
talking, pause, therapeutic vows of silence.
So if you have any connection to any kind of Vipassana meditation silent retreats, look into that. I would also create your own sacred ceremonies of silence, creating those rituals for yourself in the morning, really honoring your morning rituals, your sacred routine where you're just in silence. Perhaps creating a policy for yourself where you don't check your phone until 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. or whatever it is. Like a lot of folks tend to wake up in the morning and check their phones immediately and are already bombarded, right, by all of that. I also think that you can get as radical with this process as you'd like. I've seen and heard of meditators who are, oh, thank you, of meditators who will take a vow of silence for a month at a time or days at a time and enroll and invite their friends and family to know that that's what's happening. Hey, I'm in silence today. Note cards. Use
Right.
note cards. Use your phone to message or whatever it is, or create the conditions where you're able to separate yourself in that way.
And Linda just said she cooks in silence.
Yeah, it's like wash the dishes to wash the dishes. Like cook so that you can actually cook, so you can be present and mindful.
So the food tastes better, and I notice what I'm adding for more flavor.
Well, yeah, that makes complete sense because you have less energy that's being expended on the talking and more energy that's brought into really tuning into the flavors and the sensations. So you're deeply listening to the process.
And that's a wonderful thing for children too, to slow down eating, slow down chewing, and really help children to also be mindful of foods and flavors and textures and talk, and have them think about it and help them recognize that. So we have some of the most successful people on social media are only on it for 15 minutes each week. Even Evan Carmichael doesn't even have a phone. It's all possible. Choose your happy. Yep. Be intentional.
Amen.
And I think that's the point of a lot of this is be intentional with your silence. Be intentional with your breaks. Don't be influenced by others with your schedule. So many demands of society now, your work will say like, I have to do this. I have to do this. You have to get this done by this time. You have to get this done. Oh, and they'll call up and in an instant you need something done. You need to set up boundaries or people will be, can you do this? Can you do that? And we're afraid to say no. We need to say no. As he said, it's hard with a toddler at home, but when we run, I tell him we have to be quiet. Oh, yummy. I like that. Katie Kimball's kids tongue twister right there. Can you say that?
I know.
Can you say that fast 10 times? Katie Kimball's kids cook. Real food is great for teaching kids how to cook with you safely. Yeah, it's always great to teach kids to cook. And there's another great coach out there that I had on my podcast, the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. Little plug for my podcast. And it was by Chef Kibbe. And the first thing he teaches kids to do is to use knives, being careful, being, mindful of your body.
Wow.
Yeah. So many messages, I can't read them all. Taking a bath instead of a shower, no radio or music, light a candle. Yeah. And think of all the ideas that come to your head while showering, while taking a break, while taking a bath. It's that silence is creative and allow children to have that silence. Yeah, tongue twisters. We all love tongue twisters. Oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Oh no. Oh no, I know you're here, but I pushed a button and now I can't find you. So there we go. There we go. Okay, I'm back. So it's so real brief before you leave, Harry.
Sorry.
Take a moment in your hysterics. Can you touch on the silence, and I'm not saying this right, I'm sure, journey that you went on? Because I know you went on that journey that took you through a long period of silence.
Yeah, like literally the journey that I went on through Thailand.
Yes.
So yes.
'Cause that's how it started. That's how you got there, right?
My friend Jenny, she called me and told me that she was going to go to Chiang Mai, Thailand to write her book. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And she's like, do you want to come with me? Do you want to join me? And at the time I was living in Miami, and, I was born and raised there. I had been there for many years, and I'm a full-time entrepreneur, and most of my business could be run anywhere. And I had never really considered going abroad and living internationally like this. But I got accepted to a program in Dubai, a leadership journey. So I was already going to be in the Middle East, and it was a really easy ticket to get to Thailand from there. So I said yes, and I went to Thailand, and I spent like the first month with her before she left to Bali. But most of my experience in Thailand has been like a long silent retreat, like where I've been by myself for the most part. I live in the city of Chiang Mai. I live in a town where outside of the main city. So I live with a lot of the locals. So a lot of them don't speak English, and I don't speak Thai. I don't have very many friends here, and I live by myself. So it's been an incredibly beautiful journey of self-reflection and introspection, and really me tuning into truly the silence and the wisdom and the medicine of the silence. And what I found is that in getting away and breaking free from my life and my comfort zone, and breaking free from all the attachments and everything that I knew back home, I was able to kind of really sit with a lot of fear and a lot of pain, and just literally hold myself in through all of it. Even the moments when I wanted to just kind of revert back to old, patterns, or sabotage my experience, or maybe come back home, or whatever. It's been a lot of really the shadow work of me just sitting there in my pain and crying, and allowing anything that wants to come through, and as I said before, to come up and out. And so a lot of it has been like healing from a breakup, and I call it like rehabilitation from the United States and the West and the capitalism. So a lot of my mind wants to like immediately go towards like worrying and fear, and I know that is old. That's learned programming. That's not mine. It's ancestral and it's generational. And I realize that the work of deepening and our own healing is the work of a lifetime. It's the work of our generation. It's the work of our parents and grandparents and folks that have come before us that maybe didn't get the chance to do the work to go there. And so there have been moments when I've been on the floor just weeping for hours, just working through some deep stuff that has wanted to come through. And I know in my body that it's the last bit of it, because it's so uncomfortable and so disorienting. But I know that there's just tremendous freedom on the other side if I'm willing to just be courageous enough to sit with it and face it, and to love myself despite anything that wants to come through. Love myself even in the moments when I don't know how to love myself. Love myself in the moments when I don't want to love myself. Love myself in those moments when I just want to like revert back to an old shame spiral and a shame story of not being good enough or not being worthy, or loving myself even when I want to be small, like when I literally just want to hide and be invisible, because that is also old learned programming too. It's not the truth of me, because the reality is that we're made in the image of the creator and God, love, unity, whatever. And in me loving myself fully, it's like the greatest revolution and the greatest rebellion almost. It's the greatest, most beautiful thing that I can do. And it's and this experience of being and tapping into the silence has had such ripple effects in my business as well, right? So like the more that I love myself, the more that I love my business, the more that I love life, the more that I love other people, the more my capacity has stretched, my capacity and my plate has grown for what I'm able to hold and carry, and how I'm able to see things for myself. So if I spot misalignment in myself, I'm able to spot misalignment in others more quickly, and therefore more apt to help them as well. So I hope I answered your question, but yeah, this whole experience has been one wild, crazy, silent retreat.
Well,
Yeah.
I love the stories and the journey you've been on, and it's hard to believe that you, Harry, can become any more enlightened, but you indeed have. And I think everybody that shared this class together has really felt your inspiration and your wisdom and your peace and your calm. And I thank you. I thank you so much. And a lot of people have asked, what's the best way to reach out to you? So would you share what I know we have streaming, your Twitter handle, Instagram handle, LinkedIn handle, and mention something about your Halo project.
Yes, these are absolutely the best way to reach me. I'm most active on Instagram, but lately I've been very active on Twitter as well. And on my Instagram and on Twitter, you can find my personal blog. It's called the Halo Project. And it's an acronym that I created, HALO, that stands for Healing, Authenticity, Love, Liberation, Leadership, and Om and Oneness. So it's all
And your
about
name.
consciousness. And my name is Harry Lopez, and
And I mean, Halo is also your name.
Oh, Halo is my name as well. Halo, Halo, Halo. So Halo is Harry Lopez in one, and it's supposed to be symbolic of like divinity and connection to source and to light and love. That's really what I want to do here, is like have these kinds of conversations that are so nourishing. I don't often get to have these conversations.
Well, it's perfect, and it's perfect for the International Day of Calm and our Calm Summit, because it really is what we're talking about here. Changing you so we can change the future. Changing you so we can stop these generational cycles of dysfunction and abuse that go on and on and on, and start creating a new generational cycle, a new history for your family. So that's what this is all about. And always grateful for you, Harry, and you're way too far away, but
I know.
but see, you're right here next to me, and so I give you a virtual hug because I love and adore you. And
I love you too, Celia, so much.
Everybody else here does too now, and you've made more new friends today. That's what they've said.
Good, I need new friends. Because I'm too in the silence lately.
He's taking applications. So, well, funny. Thank you, Harry. We're going to have to say goodbye to you because we're welcoming our next speaker. We're going to take a little break before we bring on Chris Lake. That was also a rhyme. And I'm very good at rhyming. And Nick's here. Hi, Nick. And we thank you so much, Harry. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. And
thank you, Celia. Thank you all
so much. Next time. So now we will be moving on to our next speaker, who is Chris Lake, another wonderful human, more like just one wonderful human after another. And Chris is going to talk all about plant medicine, and his knowledge here is extensive. But before we go to Chris, I want to remind you how important our mission to the school in Uganda is. It's a school I teach at monthly, maybe every other month. And we teach virtually. And to tell you how much they're in need, I teach the school and they see me on a phone. All those kids, this little phone is held up, and that's some of the reasons we need to support them. I did a class on health and hygiene, talked about brushing teeth, and this little boy at the end raised his hand and said, "Miss Celia, what if we don't have a toothbrush?" And we forget how abundant our lives are. So we, of course, in the name of the Day of Calm, we shipped about 500 toothbrushes, toothpaste, toiletries, all kinds of things to them in Uganda. Excuse me. And I really encourage you to make our mission a reality and continue to support them. We're going to show a short video, and then we're going to bring up our next speaker, Chris Lake.
School, a Lake Brilliant School. Though we have some challenges like little salary, poor school structures, and lack of enough seats, our school would do better if we have enough reliable support. Happy International Council.
Friends, this is our school garden. You can see the corns. Wow, when they grow up, we're going to enjoy them. Thank you. This is Africa. You can see the beautiful mountain Rwenzori, the tea plantations. Hey!
My name is Atoile Joseph, the current head teacher, Brilliant Nasaran Primary School. My school or the school has enrollment of 385 pupils, and it merged to become the best in our community.
May God bless America, may God bless Europe, may God bless Asia, may God bless Africa, may God bless Uganda, may God bless Brilliant Nursery and Primary School. We love you all.
And welcome back. And thank you for your support of that school. And these are our other fabulous sponsors you see around my head. And we're so grateful for them too, because without all your help, we are a nonprofit organization and we couldn't do it without you. So I appreciate all of your help and all of your encouragement and all of your support. Time to bring up our next speaker. Before I do, I also just want to say thank you to all of you and for being here. Please share this out. If you are enriched by this program, enrich a friend, enrich a family member, enrich another human. Let's spread the love and share the love. And if you are celebrating Ramadan or Passover, soon to be Easter, I hope you have wonderful holidays ahead. We're going to bring up Chris Lake, another fabulous human that this world is so fortunate to have, full of knowledge, the executive director of Community for a Cause, and he is going to speak about the potential of plant medicine to promote peace. And there's no one better to speak about it than Chris. Chris, welcome to the International Day of Calm Summit.
Hello, hello, hello. Celia, how are you?
Hello, Chris. Good to see you again.
It's great to see you as always.
And I'm excited that you're here, and what you're talking about is
Thank you.
just so vital for us all to know about, because unfortunately, we rely on a lot of things that are not so great for us. So
This is true.
I know you're going to tell us how to rely on things that actually are good for us. And then, so all of you know, please stick around, because after we talk to Chris or he talks to us and we ask questions and all that, I'm going to talk about one more natural medicine, and that's laughter. So don't forget to hang around for that before we close our sessions today. So in the meantime, Chris, if you would share with everybody who you are, what you're doing, and then go on with your session.
Absolutely.
Excited to have you here. Can't wait to hear what you have
Oh,
to say.
I am so excited. I've been so excited for today. First of all, thank you so much for hosting the International Day of Calm and coming up with it. The world obviously needs more calm and more peace. I was honored to be asked to be a speaker. Again, Celia, truly grateful. For those who don't know, my name is Chris Lake. I am a child educator, advocate, and activist who is a charity founder of Community for a Cause that has worked to help kids with childhood-lead poisoning, special needs, homelessness, and an array of other issues that help protect and provide for the vulnerable. In working with children with special needs, I've come across research which I'm excited to share with you today. The topic of today is the potential of plant-based medicine to promote peace. And in discussing that, I'm going to need to tie together several topics that have some complexity. So I ask you to bear with me, because I will be discussing how the one plant-based compound in particular from a tropical daisy has the ability to regrow the brain. I'm going to discuss how a particular toxic heavy metal has the ability to damage the brain, and that damage leads to aggression, which also leads to spikes in crime, has been proven for decades. And third, what roadblocks already exist and have existed for some time that prevent us from seeing plant-based compounds and plants as medicine. So to start off, I do want to ask you this question, and that is, what if I told you there is a plant-based compound that could prevent respiratory infections, that could decrease the severity of depression, that has been proven as a therapeutic for dementia, Parkinson's, and Huntington's disease? Would it sound too good to be true? This compound I'm talking about is vitamin C, and there's well over 1 million studies that back these claims. But we don't call vitamin C a drug. In fact, it's a supplement, and on every single bottle of supplements in the US, there is a disclaimer that says this statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, prevent, or treat any disease, despite in the case of vitamin C, there being well over 1 million studies that demonstrate otherwise. So why is this, and why am I talking about vitamin C? I want to start off with an example, a parable, if you will, or an analogy, because by Western medicine standards, plants are simply not medicine. Despite indigenous cultures and ancient cultures as well, we don't consider plants medicine. So while we all know we can get vitamin C from an orange, U.S. laws like the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 21, requires that disclaimer, not intended to statement, to be on every single bottle. So vitamin C, because it's an organic molecule, otherwise known as L-ascorbic acid, that disclaimer must be on the bottle. You'll find the disclaimer on any plant-based vitamins such as B12, riboflavin, prenatal vitamins, which are obviously recommended by doctors, but still have that disclaimer. And today, I want us to think about these vitamins, and I want us to think about how we can change our understanding of how to use things that come in nature. Mind you, the word vitamin is simply a classification, okay? A vitamin is essentially an organic molecule that allows our bodies to function properly and develop properly. And today I'm going to introduce a new compound, and that is called 7,8-dehydroxyflavone. It's a bit of a mouthful, I admit. Its other name is tropoflavin, but from here out, I'll call it DHF to keep it simple. And this compound, DHF, has the potential to change the way we know how bodies function for some time to come. Before I get into that, I want to ask one more question, and that is, what is one certain way that we could, across the world, exist more peacefully? And in my opinion, the answer lies in better brain health. Right now across the world, we have a crisis. We have a major problem, and we are desperately in need of better mental health. The World Health Organization found that during COVID, anxiety and depression worldwide spiked 25%. The World Health Organization also released a report last June that found since 2019, nearly 1 billion people worldwide are suffering from mental illness. Inside that 1 billion, when you look at adolescents overall, 14%, or 1 in 7, are suffering from mental illness. Within that 1 billion, 70% are receiving no services whatsoever. This is a major problem. Part of the reason they're not receiving services is accessibility, and part of the reason they're not receiving services is going to be cost. Unfortunately, that doesn't matter. We need to find creative ways and novel solutions to this problem and growing problem is that. Tack on to the fact that, unfortunately, UNICEF released a report that shows that anywhere between 1/3 and 40% of all children worldwide are suffering from lead poisoning. And as I said, we're going to talk about toxic heavy metal, and that heavy metal is lead. With 40% of the children in the world having lead poisoning, that means 40% of children in the world have a little brain damage that leans them a little more aggressive, and studies have shown leans them a little more towards crime. Is it guaranteed? No, but it is a proclivity. It is an inclination. So when you look at that and you fast forward to the future, it paints a pretty bleak picture. And I'm not trying to create a doomsday scenario for everyone to have solutions, I promise. But when you do the math, you have 1 billion people suffering from mental illness. You have 800 million children worldwide who have some level of brain damage from lead poisoning, or potentially have some brain damage from lead poisoning. And add on to this, there are increasing rates currently of autism, of ADHD, depression, anxiety, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's, schizophrenia, to name a few, that when you all add it up, cost the world $1 trillion a year. We have a major problem that we need to find ways to address now. We don't have much time to wait. We need to have a sense of urgency on the mental health crisis this world is facing. So, that being said, I'd like us to take a journey into how we look at the brain, how we've understood the brain. And so we're going to take a little journey through the history of neurology. And the brain, I find fascinating. I don't know about you, but ever since I was a child, I've always been like, I want to know more. How does this work? When I look around the room I'm in right now, literally everything that I can see has been created because of what's between our ears. Someone somewhere was creative and said, I want to make a chair. I want to write a book. I want to make a TV. I want to create Wi-Fi. And because of how our brain health works, we're able to create and manifest just about anything. But when it's not working, there's certain breakdowns that we find in communication and behavior. So since the Stone Age, we find evidence that mankind has been exploring how the brain works with mixed results. If you go back, you can find evidence of this in ancient Egypt and ancient Sumeria. They actually wrote in the papyrus and texts about studying the brain. As far back in Ayurvedic cultures in India, on the Shakara Samhita text, you'll find information describing both the symptoms and treatments of the time for epilepsy in India. In ancient Rome, Surgeon Galen would perform live vivisections of pigs, monkeys, and other mammals to demonstrate his finding that the laryngeal nerve controls our vocal cords. And when he cuts the nerve, the pig no longer squeals. The animal no longer has the ability to access their vocal cords. And the ancient Incas were using a surgery called trephination, where holes are bored into the skull to relieve the inflammation And in the 1400s, they actually had a 90% success rate. Don't ask me how. But pretty impressive for the tail end of the Middle Ages. When we fast forward to the 20th century, the 21st century, we find new understandings of how the brain works. And we're going to start in 1913. In Spain, Santiago Ramon y Cajal made a comment or a statement in his findings that everything is immutable and irreversible. And he said that everything can die, nothing can regrow. And that understanding held true for nearly 100 years for humans. In 1960, Joseph Altman and his lab discovered in rats the first evidence of neural regeneration in the adult version of rats. Regeneration is going to happen in babies and kids, obviously, or growth, as we know, is happening in babies and kids. But to see it in adult rats was a new finding. You fast forward to 1985, and you're going to see Fernando Nottebohm discovered in songbirds clear-cut evidence of neurogenesis in the songbird. 1998 comes a seminal study by Erickson and company. They were looking at the brain tissue of post-mortem cancer patients they injected a dye into, and they discovered for the first time that neurogenesis happens in the adult human brain. This was a groundbreaking study. It's actually the neurogenesis of the adult hippocampus, and that study in 1998 by Peter Erickson has been cited in other studies well over 8,000 times. That is no small number for a study to be cited. And as a result, we started asking ourselves more questions. We now have a new understanding that something we didn't understand our organ could do before can do. It can regrow. It can continue to grow. What does this mean? And so research was pumped out and people started to experiment. And you fast forward to 2013, when Jonas Friesen in his lab discovered that the adult brain is actually growing 700 new neurons every single day. And this just blew our understanding out of the water. Now, for me, I work with children with special needs, lead poisoning, autism, and for a very long time, I had questions about what can be done outside of the applied behavior analysis study and practice that I give to my students from a physiological point of view. I watched a documentary, Hungry for Change, and in it, Dr. Mike Adams very casually made the comment that when you eat cilantro, it actually goes into your blood, eats toxic heavy metals, and removes it. For me, that was a true eureka moment, being that all the kids I work with lead poisoning tend to have extreme difficulty making progress, much more difficulty than the kids with autism. And I kept asking myself, well, what can I do more? So when I saw this documentary, I said, I need to do some research to A, verify what this man has said is true, and also to expand my new understanding that plants and food could be medicine. I never had that concept before. I looked at food as something delicious, you eat it, keep moving. But now I'm realizing maybe it can help alleviate symptoms and harm that people have. That being said, I go into my research, and one day I come across this beautiful study by Dr. Tomás Guillarte in a Columbia University lab that found when they administered a plant-based compound, that DHF from that tropical daisy, to lead-poisoned mice, the function of the brain was restored in the hippocampus. This has not been seen before. It is still common knowledge, if you were to Google it today, that brain damage caused by lead poisoning is irreversible. It will still say that if you Google that right now. They have not caught up to date to that study from 5 years ago. When they gave this plant-based compound, the DHF, to the little rat pups prenatally, so while the mice, the rat mothers, the long Evan mice mothers were pregnant, up to 35 days after birth, they found that within 2 weeks, 15 days to be specific, all of the function was restored. Now, the hippocampus is very important, and I'm gonna fast track for you and also give you a visual of how we learn. All right. Share screen. Oh, I see. It does it a little differently. Excuse me, folks. There we go. Share. Okay, so this is the Tridex daisy. This is a tropical flower that grows in nice tropical and subtropical regions. It's not that gorgeous. You wouldn't be excited if you got a bouquet of it. However, it does have this beautiful compound called DHF. And in Dr. Tomás Guillarte's study, he found, again, that it was able to reverse the brain damage and cognitive function. When they gave it to the mice for 15 days, all function was restored. Now, how learning works. We have neurons, and I like to look at neurons. There's 2 points of neurons. There is the dendrites, and there are the axon terminal buttons. Excuse me. The dendrites would be the ears, and the terminal buttons would be the mouth. And so basically, you receive a message, and it goes down the neuron's body, and it's spread to the next one. And it's a chain reaction throughout the brain when you have a sensory input. It goes from one neuron to another neuron to another neuron to another neuron until it feeds the brain, in particular, the part of the brain called the hippocampus. The doorway to the hippocampus is called the Schaefer collateral. And this is in particular where the study saw the rescue of function. How memory works is like this. You have, memory works in a matter of receiving sensory input. A neural chain is activated. It leads to the Schaefer collateral in the, I agree. I see that comment. I agree. It is so sad. And my goal here today for that Facebook user who made that comment that in the medical field, we can't do medical testing, is to find creative solutions, because I understand the limits in the medical field, or I'm doing my best to understand more and more of it. And I think there's a creative way that we can find solutions similar to how vitamin C is not a drug, but it still can be used. This is a non-toxic plant compound that is not a drug, but it still can be used and given. And hopefully, as we expand our knowledge, we can expand our research, and we can find ways to alleviate a lot of the symptoms that we're seeing that 1 billion people are suffering from right now. So as I was saying, with learning, we have sensory input some sort of manner. You either hear something, you see something, you experience something. There's a chain, that neural chain goes to your Schaefer collateral in the hippocampus, and consider it like the Amazon warehouse. Memories aren't automatic. Depending on the strength, the emotionality, and the importance, they're going to be stored there for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks before then they are shipped out, like Amazon trucks, to its final resting place as a long-term memory. And memories are in different areas of your brain depending on what kind of memory it is. A fact like in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue is going to be stored in my hippocampus. Facts, numbers, things like that. Something called procedural memory, which is basically like body kinesthetic. If I'm riding a bike, if I'm doing something I can do with my hands, with my eyes closed, that's going to be stored in the cerebellum. Emotional memories are going to be stored in the amygdala, and so on. So this rescue, again, shows you when we rescue the Schaefer collateral from damage that lead does, we restore memory for the mice, and potentially restore memory for children with poisoning, potentially restore memory for adults, etc. Without memory, we can't learn. Without memory, we lack a sense of self. So without memory, we can't reflect back on what happened last time when I tried this, so I shouldn't try this again. It's going to interrupt with our ability to make proper executive function decisions. Now, to put a pin in that, I'd like to talk again about lead poisoning. All right, and how does lead work? Lead is a toxic heavy metal that has no value whatsoever to the body. There are plenty of metals that actually are extraordinarily valuable. Obviously, iron is one. Lead, however, looks like things the body needs. So when it comes into your body and your body's deciding, what am I to do with this? It looks like calcium, it looks like zinc, and it looks like magnesium. So the body says, okay, send this to where calcium should go, send this to where zinc should go, send this to where magnesium goes. Your brain requires a lot of calcium to operate. That's how the electrical signal is even able to pass. It's called a potassium-calcium channel, potassium-sodium channel, but you need calcium for release. So when lead gets in there, it's going to mess up that chain. And when that chain is messed up, you can't have the information you're receiving end in that Schaefer collateral Amazon warehouse. It can't be stored. If you can't get to the doorways of the warehouse, your memory doesn't have a chance to cook for 2 weeks and then be sent to the other parts of your memory. And what Dr. Tomas Guillarte's study found was that the compound was able to allow the signal to basically hijack the lead. It was able to release a component called BDNF, which is kind of like the oil to the, I'm reading some comments, which is like it's like the oil to the chains. And it lets each neuron tell the next one, I like receiving that message, send me more. And the neurons literally move closer together. And as the neurons literally physically move closer together because of buttons on the dendritic spine, it's easier for that message to be received and easier for you to retrieve that message when you need it. Thus, your memory is faster and more efficient. You have more efficient neurocircuitry. And that is what 7,8-DH, that's what DHF does for the brain. It helps to make the neurons and the neurons circuits more efficient. Now, lead is damaging the efficiency. It is creating a difficulty for signals to go where they need to. It also creates misfires. So there will be some neural circuits that will fire despite the fact that there wasn't a calling for it to do so. And unfortunately, we have found throughout history that there is a direct link between lead, aggression, and crime. If you cannot learn from your mistakes. Lead also impedes impulse control, which is going to lend itself towards more violence, unfortunately. There was a study done by economist Rick Nevins when they noticed in the 90s there was a significant drop in crime in New York City. And at first it was attributed to the mayor at the time, Rudy Giuliani's tough on crime, broken window policing that turned everything around. But as they looked at the trend, they realized crime was already decreasing before he got in office. It just kind of completed its task while he was in. And so people argued for a bit back and forth as to, well, why did crime drop so much? And mind you, crime dropped in the 90s 50% compared to the 70s. So there's reason to ask, well, what really happened? Because we want to replicate this, obviously, right? And some arguments were on policing. Some arguments were on the legalization of abortion because there were less unwanted babies. Thus, the unwanted babies did not grow up to be aggressive, angsty, trauma-filled children that grew to adults. And the other argument was the removal of lead from gasoline. In the 70s, the US removed all lead from gasoline. And in 20 years later, there was a result, not just in New York, in other cities as well. So Rick Nevins actually wanted to see if this could be broadened out. And he found in 8 other countries the same exact pattern. When you factor for social economic status, when you factor for the abortion issue, when you factor for policing, you found the same exact 17 to 21 year lag in Canada, in Britain, in France, in Finland, in Australia, in New Zealand, in Italy, and in West Germany, when West Germany was a country, which is a significant sample size, to say the least. And it gives us reason to consider that, yes, lead is contributing to crime because of the brain damage it causes, which causes aggression, which causes a lack of insight and judgment that was controlled for. Fun other fact that I like to point out is, I'm going to share my screen again. When you look at the Middle East, a hotbed of contention and fighting, obviously, you're going to see there was an article in, let me see, share. An article in Mother Jones said terrorism in the Middle East will decline by half between 2020 and 2040. Wouldn't that be nice? I think so. And if we look at this map, the approximate date that gasoline was phased out, you see these countries. I'm not sure if you, here we go. Countries like Yemen, which no longer has a government and has descended into complete chaos, was the last to remove gasoline from their, remove lead from their gasoline. In other countries, you see the other trends, right? Iraq, you have Israel's over here, Lebanon's over here, and they seem to have had less violence compared to these other areas. Let me see what else. This I talked about before. All right. So what does that tell me? That leads me to believe that if we find more ways to remove the brain damage caused by lead, we will find more ways to decrease crime. The more that we decrease crime, obviously, the more peace we can have. But then also those who are suffering from lead poisoning will have a higher quality of life. And that's something that I think we could all truly appreciate. So I want you to fast forward and ask yourself, what does the world look like in the future with 1 billion people suffering from mental illness and an increasing rate, again, of anxiety, depression, autism, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's, schizophrenia, to name a few, with 800 million children that potentially have brain damage from lead? What does the world look like 17 to 21 years from now? Compared to what could the world look like if we find ways to alleviate the mental health problem and the brain health problem by doing more research, by considering applying plant-based medicines such as DHF that is showing in thousands of studies the ability to rescue the brain from a host of different diseases and scenarios. And just to illuminate, different studies that they have found this able to rescue Alzheimer's, straight up brain trauma, physical brain trauma. Plenty of Alzheimer's studies have been shown with DHF, have had wonderful results from its administration. This study discusses depression. This study discusses schizophrenia. This study discusses how a potent antidepressive effect, and on and on and on. I've seen studies for Rett syndromes, Parkinson's, as well as Huntington's that have all alleviated the symptoms and the issues because of the administration of this product. So we have roadblocks, right? And as I told you before, I want to discuss the plant-based compound, lead poisoning, and roadblocks. So what's in the way? What's in the way of plant-based medicine being taken seriously? What's in the way of plants being considered as medicine? I already told you that in the U.S., we have that Code of Federal Regulations, Title 21, that prevents any supplement from being evaluated by the FDA and being allowed to be considered a drug, or saying it prevents or treats any disease. It's against the law. This all started in April 1976. In my country, there was a politician, a very, very influential politician. His name was Senator William Proxmire, who introduced the Proxmire Amendments. And when he did that, it essentially made it illegal for the FDA to ever establish standards for supplements or to classify them as drugs, unless the FDA could prove the formation was dangerous. Not allow it to be classified as drugs really changed the game. And there's a logical reason to be concerned about plants being labeled as drugs, because you can't factor for the uniformity of the soil, of the pesticides, of how the farmers or whoever is growing the plants are treating the plants, etc. So that objective uniformity is missing. However, we're also missing the opportunities for these plant-based compounds, these wonderful molecules, these potential supplements or potential new vitamins to be in the mix and rescue brains from Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and Huntington's, especially when we see that there's hundreds or thousands of studies that are showing such. Imagine if we didn't let anyone use vitamin C because we said, well, it's not a drug, so what's the point? But there's solutions around it. And that's why I'm here to talk to you, because A, I want to spread awareness. 2, I want people to start to brainstorm. 3, I'd like people to reach out. I see a comment. I worked in Baltimore where many people are getting payment from the city for lead poisoning. Many were overlooked. Money does not help with leaving the body of poisoning. Correct. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. I appreciate that comment. Really do. And you're right. Money doesn't help. But at the same time, research does. And additionally, finding more and more examples of how this is going to change humans is the key. Because as I told you, as I walked through the history of neurology, it started with rats. Joseph Ullman in the 1960s started with rats. 85, it was songbirds. In 98, it was humans that were dead. In 2013, 50 years later, we see the evidence of live human regeneration. So that was a 50-year process to learn something with humans. Hopefully we can telescope it. And I do not know what the threshold of how many studies are required before something is taken seriously, but I do know that we need to start doing trials on more than just rats, so that those in the scientific community can start to really consider taking this seriously. And then hopefully down the road, while it may not be seen as a drug, it can be seen as a viable supplement, the same way prenatal vitamins are not a drug, but a viable supplement that can be given and are recommended to those in need. That is my TED Talk. I appreciate everyone for coming here to hear my beliefs and my understandings of how plant-based medicine can promote peace. Again, it would decrease crime. It would alleviate mental health. It would decrease that cost. As I told you, we spend $1 trillion a year on mental health related issues. And what does the world look like when we are on the flip side of that coin? I'd like us all to see that together. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me, folks. And thank you
so much, Chris. So much information and insight that people don't even realize. And I'm sure everyone's brain's like ticking right now of like what we can do and the new things we just discovered. So we do have some questions and thoughts. First is, any thoughts on plant-based healing outside of the U.S., especially in places like Uganda? Many children do not have access to the U.S. health system.
So, whatever research, reputable research, is showing is a potential therapeutic, I think is worth exploring. As long as it's not toxic, as long as it is not highly experimental, plant-based medicine, I believe, is a nice supplement to the Western medicine modality of medicine that we see today. I don't believe all medicine needs to come from an orange bottle or from a syringe. You know, our parents didn't need that, and they got us here. And that's not to say that medicine that comes out of an orange bottle or syringe is not good. There's a place for both. There's room for all of it. And I'd like us to expand our understanding of what can be useful for the body, the brain to function and develop.
Excellent answer. Thank you. To clarify, the plumbism workout cannot be done in all countries. What action or call to action do you have for the under-resourced? I hope I said that word right.
Plumbism, yeah, that's a lead poisoning. I'm not sure what the plumbism workout is. A workup, clinical workup. Oh, so what can be done for those in areas that are under-resourced when it comes to lead exposure is a number of things, and one is diet. So it has been proven that vitamin C, iron, and calcium are valuable in your diet to help prevent any further absorption of lead. In terms of removing lead from your body, there are studies that show certain foods, as I spoke before from that Hungry for Change, cilantro is something that's able to actually chelate some lead from the blood. Chlorella, which is an algae, is able to remove some lead from the body. Again, since they're plants, there's not enough research on them. And I really like scientists to start pushing because we have these available for a reason. The other thing in terms of depending on where you live, be aware of your water source. Avoid construction in places where old paint may lie, because one of the biggest contributors to lead poisoning is lead dust, both from just simply opening old windows or when people are doing renovation and cutting into walls where there's lead paint. You want to wear a mask around that area. If you're pregnant, you want to be nowhere near that area, whether that means renovations are being done in your house and you stay at a friend's, then do that. But you want to avoid exposure to lead. Always avoid the toxins first. That's the first strategy you always want to employ. And then consider, how do I remove it from my body or prevent any further absorption? And again, reliably studies show vitamin C, calcium, and iron will prevent any more absorption. And then other studies are showing that cilantro and chlorella are able to actually help remove some of it if taken consistently.
And whoops, I missed that comment. Went away so fast. Flew away. More than a supplement in my case, Western medicine is the supplement for me. Grateful for all. Oh, it's a statement, not a question. Hope you got a book or website because we all need this. Well, we're gonna get into that. Well, you can say it. Say it right now. Like,
sure,
how do people connect to you?
So you can connect with me. My website's Community for a Cause, and there's a contact button there. You can always email me. I'm currently working. It's funny, Celia and I. We're discussing parenting and other issues when we both discovered that we're both doing work in Uganda and said, well, how is that possible? What are the odds?
It's a small world.
Small world. And I am currently working with 2 teams in Uganda to help actually test out this plant-based compound, DHF, on kids who have lead poisoning to do a documentary to help sway some scientists to do more research. So reach out to me and we can discuss how to make that more of a reality. The more reality that is, the more likely we can sway more scientists. The more scientists and research we can sway, the sooner we get to a point where potentially plants are considered more of a potent ability to promote peace through creating better brain health and mental health. Otherwise, I'm on Instagram. My name is Chris Lake. You can also find me as Behavior Booster, but it's going to be _Chris.Lake_ on IG. Okay, and I'm on Twitter as well, and LinkedIn.
You can find them.
Yeah.
And there's a little thing scrolling across the bottom of the page that also connects you. Integrative medicine providers are growing in number. We are trying to move into natural healing methods. Glad to have you here today. Everybody's glad to have you here today.
I'm glad to be here today.
And I'm glad you're here too. We're all very happy you're here.
Cheers.
Wasn't there another statement or question we didn't get with the plant managed? Did we get to this one? The plant medicine. Did we do this one, Czar? Plant medicine helps keep me alive daily, allowing me to eat halfway normal. I'm trying to eliminate it eventually to use it differently, but for now, it absolutely helps me medicinally. Achalasia is what I have, and THC is what I use. Excuse me.
Interesting. I'm glad plant medicine is working for you. Once I found that research, I changed my life. And that was 2014. I can tell you it was August 25th, 2014, when I came across that Hungry for Change documentary. And I started asking myself, well, if cilantro is medicine, what else? And from there, I've taken such a journey to learn about different forms of plant medicine, both food, also there's ceremony plant medicine that are available. You said THC. Psilocybin cubensis has been shown to have a lot of positive results, and there's a lot more studies coming about how it helps with depression, anxiety, and other, when properly administered and used, disclaimer. There's other medicine out there as well that is showing more and more promise for brain health and mental health, such as the chacruna root, Banisterius capi, otherwise known as ayahuasca. But again, these studies are very new and this is experimental stuff, so I'm not promoting that. I'm simply making people aware of what exists. If THC works for you and it's alleviated you, great. I'm someone who's neurodiverse. I have ADHD, and I found that once I changed my diet, my brain health improved in leaps and bounds. I found that once I did use cilantro and chlorella detoxes here and there, mental fog was lifted. I find that using DHF myself, I am able to have a higher cognitive performance than I did without it. So again, do the research. Don't simply cherry pick, though, when you do research, because it's very easy to have a research bias and say, I only want to find the research that confirms what I want to know. Whenever you find that, also look for the opposition. Say, what? And if you only find one or two studies, that's not good enough. Okay? It's not good enough. If you find research that's what's called a lit review, where someone says, I studied these 12 different studies to bring you the information, that might not be good enough either, because that could be cherry picked. If someone's giving you 12 studies on how, I don't want to offend anyone, so I'm just saying how compound X does Y, there might be 9,988 studies that say why compound X actually might kill you if you take too much. So really look for reputable research that can be repeated. As I told you, the study by Erickson was cited 8,000, it's actually 8,400, like 8,500 times basically. That's reputable. Okay, you're not going to find 8,000 plus scientists all quoting the same research, but you can still find today research that shows smoking is good for you. So really be balanced in your research. If you're going to do anything that's experimental, anything that's psychotropic, anything that is in a gray zone of legality, please be careful. Okay, please be careful.
And I wanted to mention Matthew's comment because he is one of our sponsors. And works a lot. Actually, I told you about him, Chris. Remember?
Did. Yes.
So that's who this is. Excellent Nature is the doctor, the research of
great.
Dr. Keeley, and Infom. That's his organization. Support your mission.
Cheers. Nature is the doctor.
One of our sponsors, and we thank him very much. So, Chris, the other thing I wanted to bring up to you. Let me check time. Oh, we got plenty of time. We got plenty of time. We got all the time in the world. Is the use of this world belief that prescription medicine is the only way, and there's all this negative information against plant medicine, and how there's still so many people that believe that it's like, what's the word? Like hocus pocus.
Frou-frou or new agey.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Frou-frou, and the medicine men like I'm doing really well with words. Build on that. So,
all right,
like all these people
so why is
who
that? How do we break through
basically
that?
are so biased against it and think that, we have modern medicine. Why are we going back?
So unfortunately,
these
and
things?
I wish to choose my words very wisely when I say this. Unfortunately, there is a intentional effort to make that so. And it's not in the interest of very powerful people and corporations and pharmaceuticals for people to turn to nature for their ailments. They stand to lose money, and they do pay research teams to produce research in favor of their pharmaceuticals and in opposition of plant-based medicine. They pay them handsomely well. It's important when you are looking up research, like if you go on Google Scholar, there's a plus button. It's not always open. There's a plus button underneath the people who actually published the article that says affiliations. And it says that there for a reason, because you might see the affiliation is simply Columbia University, but it might also say the affiliation is a company. And the company's not going to be Exxon. The company's not going to be Pfizer. It's going to be a company name that has a pretty, neutral name. But if you go and research what is that company, you'll find, oh, that's actually a company that hires researchers to create research for the pharmaceutical industry or for chemical producers to say, no, like glyphosate is healthy for you. It's fine. No, Roundup is good for you. No, artificial sweeteners are great for you. Are you serious? They're not. they're not. But the problem is when the FDA decides if like I said, the FDA can't classify plants as a drug. And when they are looking at drugs and they're debating the research, it's on the company to present the research. The FDA doesn't go and doesn't have any researchers of their own. The FDA has 0 researchers. They wait for research to come to them. Here's the research that shows you that yellow number 5 and red 40 are good for you. And they say, okay, this looks good. And unless or until someone else says, wait, no, this is actually proof that yellow number 5 and red 40 are causing attention deficit disorder and a host of other issues, then they can make a better judgment call. But that's unfortunately the system that we have right now, which is why it's my goal to spread awareness, because as you've heard me say, I think we all need to find creative ways to survive our government due to the fact that so much money is tied in redirecting us and misguiding us so that we keep the system going. And unfortunately, it's not in their benefit to say, by the way, if you just eat a healthy enough diet, you don't really need to take X, Y, or Z medication. Most of our illness comes from the fact that we don't eat healthy enough, we don't exercise enough, we don't get enough sun. Vitamin D is the most vital. Vitamin D is
And
not
it's
only
free.
It's free, and that's the thing. It's free, and that's a hard thing to contend with. So they redirect us and they make us think that it's foo-foo and it's just green hippies who are granola crunchy people wearing Birkenstocks who do that. And if you're a cool red-eating American or a red-blooded man, you don't need that. You need some of this in your system. And again, I say it as a balance. The medications like Motrin. If my baby, my 2.5-year-old, has a fever, I'm going to give her children's Motrin. I'm not going to go to the Sage Book and say, what urban foraging can I do to bring my baby's fever down? Nope. Children's Motrin, don't have time for that because it works, right? But at the same time, if I find out that there's something I can give her that's going to promote her brain health, like lion's mane or chaga mushrooms or reishi red mushrooms, which, mind you, if you mix with like vanilla almond milk, is delicious. I'm going to offer that to my daughter to promote her brain health naturally. I see research, fabrication, common practice these days. Yes, pharma companies back up their products on this research. It's so true, and we're all aware of it. It's unfortunate though that it isn't common knowledge. It's common knowledge perhaps to everyone who's watching right here, and Anupam Sharma, who just put that comment up. But ideally, the goal is that we just normalize using more and more plants and just live a life that's evidence. If you are living the evidence, it's hard for someone to contend with you. And I think that's part of the solution, is to be the proof. Explore how good the variety of mushrooms. Again, I mentioned lion's mane, red reishi, chaga. These all are fantastic for your immune system, for your brain health. Use them. If someone says, "Hey, you seem sharper," and you can say, "Yeah, I started taking a mushroom diet," you're the proof. Someone doesn't have the ability to say, "No, that's some foo-foo." Like, no, they just you can see that I'm a different person, right? I got a raise. I don't have to care what your opinion is. Like, we're not debating this endlessly. I'm doing better because of one variable that I changed. Be the proof. Try it out. Live a life that's healthier. Live a life that incorporates plant-based medicine, however you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable, it's not for you, that's okay too. I'm not forcing this on anyone. I just believe that the more we do this, the more the world accepts that we can add this to our diet, that we can add this to our brain health diet, so to speak, that we can have a different 21st century than we may be headed towards right now without it.
Absolutely. And this is so vital for the whole mission of this day, that we look to the future generations, that we do what we can do today to make a difference tomorrow. All the violence, like you pointed out, the areas in the world that have the highest violence and anger and rage also have all this chemical issues in their brain and this imbalance that's going on,
Listen,
and we're not going to change it. Go ahead.
let me give you an example of the violence, right? So I said, once they removed lead from gasoline, we found across the US and 8 other countries that were studied by Rick Nevins, this result. In Chicago, a lot of times you'll hear people in the US discuss Chicago because there's so much gang violence there and what have you. And there was a public house that was built right off a highway in the 50s and 60s, and it's called the Robert Taylor Houses. And lead paint was used for the buildings. It's right off the highway, so it got a very high dose of lead exposed to the kids. Living there produced a 22-time higher murder rate than anywhere else. 22 times. Right now in Chicago, in Illinois, first of all, Illinois in the US is a state that literally has the most lead pipes still. And in the state that has the most lead pipes, Chicago has, I think, about over 90% of the pipes there are still lead. And it's because they started like in the 20s, this is going to sound wild, but you can look it up. It's true. The lead lobby actually pushed unions to use lead. The word that you saw before, plumbism, right? The root plum is from the Latin term plumbum, which is lead. Plumbers were lead workers first. And so in the 20s, the national lead, it was called, the industry, national lead was a very big industry, and it didn't want people to know that lead is bad for you. So they produced misinformation. They paid people to learn how to use lead to make pipes, and then they lobbied to make it so only lead could be used as pipes. And they started in Chicago, and then they spread across the entire U.S. until 1986. So the word plumber literally means lead worker, and they fashioned that so that they can continue to make money. So you don't just see this in the pharmaceutical industry. You see this across a host of industries, and it's on us to find ways around it. Again, you can't always remove lead, but DHF, that compound, 7,8-dehydroxyflavone, triboflavin, whatever you want to call it, that helps the brain work despite the lead. That helps the brain work despite Alzheimer's, despite Parkinson's, despite Huntington's. So we really need to focus on that plant and ones like it that can help us regain our sanity.
Yeah, we need to get the word out, because the control that the pharmaceutical companies have are not going to allow it.
Right.
And Matthew says we do research in morbidity and mortality reduction from plant sites. It's a lot of big words, Matthew. A lot of big words for me. I'm gonna let Chris read it. Chris, right. You read that.
We do research in morbidity and mortality reduction from plant cytokine and phytokine exposure. Big pharma lobbies against our funding. Of course it does.
That sounds much better when you read it.
Tell your politicians grants for plant research. So here's the problem, right? And I love the idea. I do a bit of lobbying through my organization, Community for a Cause. And I've learned the lay of the land each year since 2014 when it comes to lobbying and how politics works. Most politicians are not going to change the pharmaceutical game. And I'll tell you why. They stand to lose a lot of money. If you're in politics, you're also in the markets. If you're in the markets, you're investing in the stocks that are making money, which means you're invested in Pfizer. You're invested in a number of different pharmaceutical, banking, tech industries. And you have to put yourself in their shoes. If you're making hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars regularly each year, is it in your interest to create a legislation that's going to cost you that money? Of course not. Of course not. But that's why I wish to spread awareness, because I don't believe peace will ever come from governments or politics. I don't see it happening. I believe it happens from people realizing that they're actually bigger than politics and government. And they are not simply beholden to the borders of the country. We're humans. And if we as humans on this planet work together to understand the nature across this planet works for us and with us, then we can still give Caesar what's due Caesar, but also live a healthier life that promotes our brain health and decreases crime, and not care if we get credit and not care if politicians write laws about it. But we know that in our communities, we're talking about, hey, did you hear about DHF? Yeah, I'm using that. My memory's gotten so much better. Wow, me too. Be the proof. Be the proof. The answer is not in the sky. Politicians are not going to save us. If they were going to, they would have by now.
Right.
They've had more than enough time.
Yes, take the action.
Yeah,
You
take
know,
the action.
so Linda says, if there are any plants left on this planet when our kids grow up. And so I encourage
hope so.
people to start gardening, start
Yes.
planting plants.
Yes.
Because you got a point. I mean, you know, the concrete jungle is everywhere, and we need to take the initiative. And gardening is such a great method of, number one, being calm, number two, helping your family and your children to be calm and to learn delayed gratification, because a seed must grow and
Right.
they nourish it. It helps children learn to try new foods because they tend to eat what they grow.
Right.
And it is the best form to ward against osteoporosis, best form of exercise that there is, because it's you get vitamin D from the sun, again, free, and it is a weight-bearing exercise. So ladies, plant gardens.
I think I once heard the most revolutionary act you can do is growing your own food.
Yeah.
And you know, there's something to that. Listen, this
is.
this plant's very hardy. If anyone wants to have their own garden, I am not the new Dr. Sebi. I appreciate that. That is an extraordinary compliment. I can't own that, but thank you. Thank you. You just made my day.
Yes, true.
But
Children who grow their own food eat more vegetables.
This plant's quite hardy and it grows relatively easily. So if you do want to grow your own Tropoflavin or Tridex daisy, you know, they do sell seeds on eBay. I have seeds in my home itself. If you got a nice warm enough climate and you water properly, you can grow your own, make some tea, and reap the benefits, because you don't just need it for people with lead poisoning, brain damage, or mental health. Again, I said I'm taking this product myself. I've taken it at this point for years, and it just makes my life easier. The better your brain functions, the easier your life is. You're going to make better choices. And in not making bad choices, your life's easier, but also making better choices, your life's easier. You know, I've increased my income. I got married. I have a kid. So many things have changed because I changed my diet and my brain health. And it's no small thing. I attribute it all to understanding how plant medicine all really works together. And I think you all can too. And I wish you all peace. That a little more peace today, a little more peace this month, a little more peace this year and years to come.
Exactly. And we all need more peace. And this world needs more peace. Thus, the Day of Calm. But the thing about plants too is, don't forget, if you don't have garden space, you can grow indoors. If you don't have an area that you can grow a garden, you can grow herbs indoors. And there are certain plants and they're super fun. Like I have spring onions growing right now. I just cut off the bottom, put them in the water, and they grow instantly. Nice. So they're great for children because they get to actually see action. You know, there's a lot of celery is like that. Cut off the bottom of celery and put it in, and it grows fairly quickly. It's great to grow your own vegetables out of your own vegetables. So there's all kinds of things to encourage more plant usage, show children what it means to eat what they grow, and do that, because I forgot the last part. So just do that. Just grow more stuff.
Grow more food.
Grow more.
Grow more. Grow more.
Well, Chris, everybody is thrilled with your presentation, and I know we've all learned something new today. I'm so grateful for you being here and with me again. For those of you that listen to my podcast, the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast, you will find Chris Lake in a recent episode. I could even tell you, maybe if I look. Episode 7 of season 4, which is going on right now. That one is Chris Lake, and we talk a lot about more about what we talked about here, but more on lead poisoning. I think we focus more on lead poisoning, but either way, more information, check it out. Pumped Up Parenting Podcast, and reach out to Chris. Just a wealth of information. So thank you, Chris, so much for making our Day of Calm Summit that much more special.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Truly.
You're so welcome. Thank you for joining. Okay, guys. So as we say goodbye to Chris the Amazing, we are left with me. Yay. And before you guys go, I know this wasn't advertised, but I really wanted to end today with something special. And that is the benefits of more natural medicine. But this natural medicine is laughter. And there are major benefits to laughing with your family. Before I get started with laughing, and I'm going to get you all laughing right off the bat, before we get started with laughter and it being the best medicine, we're going to take a break. Once again, thank our sponsors. They're incredible. Thank Czar and Anapan for the back office work that they've been doing to make this so successful. I'm so grateful to them. They are my team. You know, I was laughing with them the other day because I shared a link in Google Drive to them, and Google Drive said, these people are not part of your organization. And I replied, they are my organization. Without them, there is no organization. So, because my happy sayer, this will make you laugh. One of my slogans I live by is, and it was contributed by my sister. She told it to me, my sister Maddie, who you heard from yesterday. Organization is for people who are too lazy to look for their stuff. So I live by that, but I have people back here to be more organized. So anyway, we're going to take a break, recognize our sponsors, and once more show you the Rescue a School initiative that we have. Talked a lot about Uganda. Help these children. Uganda struggles. And if these kids don't have this school, they have to walk over 2 miles to the next closest school. And most of them don't have shoes. So can you imagine? Let's really make a difference in the lives of these children. Watch this, and I'll be back.
School, a Lake Brilliant School. Though we have some challenges like little salary, poor school structures, and lack of enough seats, our school will do better if we have enough reliable support. Happy International Council.
Friends, this is our school garden. You can see the corns. Wow, when they grow up, we're going to enjoy them. Thank you. This is Africa. You can see the beautiful mountain Rwenzori, the tea plantations. Hey!
My name is Atoile Joseph, the current head teacher, Brilliant Nasaran Primary School. My school or the school has enrollment of 385 pupils, and it merged to become the best in our community.
May God bless America, may God bless Europe, may God bless Asia, may God bless Africa, may God bless Uganda, may God bless Brilliant Nazareth and Primary School. We love you all.
Hi, I'm Celia Kibler, and I am the founder of the International Day of Calm. And I want to take a minute to tell you why I created the Day of Calm and why it is my intention to create this feeling of calm, happiness throughout the year. Because if we don't do something to change our daily lives, how will we ever change future generations? How will we create the next generation of adults that are confident and that are self-reliant and that are intentional about their own behaviors if we don't take the time to show them and role model what it's like to be that kind of person? It's a fourfold mission. Number one is personal responsibility. Each person has to start taking responsibility for themselves, for their actions and reactions, to stop the ridicule, the judgment, the criticism, and start connecting compassionately. We are all role models to kids. We need to create intentional parents that create a cooperative, respectful, happy home and create the family harmony that every family deserves and every child deserves. We need to have expressive education that allows a child to be curious and creative and finds learning fun. We need to make children safe. We need to have them know that their personal harm is not an everyday worry, that they're safe in their homes and in their schools. And these four initiatives combine to create a child that becomes the adult of the next generation who is confident, who is not recovering from their childhood, who is intentional, compassionate, loving, kind, and willing to learn about other people and other ways and other values. Let's do this together. Join me for the International Day of Calm Summit when you can learn how to do this. And let's start doing this not just for one day on April 5th, but throughout the year. Isn't our world worth it? Isn't the next generation worth it? Go to dayofcalm.org. And we're back. Thank you for taking the time to watch all that. And we are sincerely grateful for any contribution you can do to help us help the brilliant nursery and primary school in Uganda. So please take advantage of that. Any amount will help it. When you go to that page, you'll see all kinds of things that you can purchase for the school. So do what's within your budget. We thank you. We love you for that. And you get a free gift, a free Calm Cool toolkit. And that's available on the homepage of thedayofcalm.org. So go there and you'll get your free Calm toolkit, which is also kind of a tongue twister. All right, so let's talk about laughter. As a laughter yoga leader, I'm going to start this session off with laughter because I want to tell you that fake laughter is just as important as real laughter to your brain. The same dopamine is produced, the same excitement, the same party in your brain is produced from fake laughter. So if your kids are stressing you out, just start laughing. You know, they'll worry about you. They'll make jokes and it will lighten the mood. So let's try this little exercise. Put your hands up like me. Let me move my mic so I'm not blocking my mic. And we're going to do this. Here's practice. It's not hard. It's not hard. Ha, ha, ha. Flip your hands. He. Ha, ha, ha. He. Now, this not only benefits you through laughing, it benefits you through breath work, and it is instantly relaxing and takes your mind off of the things that are stressing you out. So let's do it together. We're going to go faster and faster. Hands up. Here we go. Ha, ha, ha. He. 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 Okay. Workout, right? That was like a workout, right? Who did it the whole time? It's hard work. Laughter. It's the hard work. It's the best medicine. So now you can do that with your kids because why? It's super funny and it will make them laugh. And don't you feel like you had a little workout because you know what else is great about laughter? It is a workout. People are doing all those, whatever they're doing to give them a 6-pack of abs. Is it a 6-pack? Is it an 8-pack? How many packs we got? I don't know. But everybody's doing that stuff where, you know, their body's folding in half and all that stuff that nobody likes to do. Laughter, yes, you've heard it right here, folks, exercises your ab muscles. I'll say that again real slow. Laughter exercises your ab muscles. And all these people going out and getting Botox shoved into their skin. I'm not sure why you would put poison in your skin, but that's for another conversation. And they're all worried about wrinkles and aging and all of that and afraid to age gracefully, all that. You know what else it exercises? Your face. Yes, laugh more. Laugh more exercises your face. You can't do it without, right? See, Izzy and you and Augusto can do it right after this. Exercise. Thank you, Maddie. So I may not get through this because I tend to laugh a lot. So exercises your face, exercises your stomach, exercises and enhances your lungs and your heart. Yes, better medicine for your heart and your lungs. The organs are like doing great stuff and pumping and all that cool stuff. And as we heard from the amazing Chris Lake, all about plant medicine, laughter is itself medicine. When they say laughter is the best medicine, it's because you know what? It really is the best medicine. It's a painkiller, natural painkiller. It lowers blood pressure. Yeah, laugh lines. That's why we have so many, right, Linda? It's all right. Shows how much you laugh. And it boosts immunity. All of this proven from the simple act of laughing. Not to mention fun. Guys, life is short. None of us are getting out of here alive. Not a one of us. So you should be having fun. Your family should be fun. Your kids need to have fun. Lighten up. Don't take life so seriously. Stop it. Stop taking life so seriously. Lighten up and laugh more. Your kids will be so happy. They will like cooperate more. They'll do more things because you've made it fun. If you're a parent and you're in the Facebook group, Pumped Up Parenting, go in the file section. It's a free group. Go in the file section. There's all kinds of stuff in there that will help make your family life a fun life. So, less stress, muscle tone, boost your moods, actually helps depression, get you out of that funk, natural healer, and it is automatically contagious. You start laughing. How many posts have you seen on social media? How many babies have you seen, toddlers have you seen that start laughing and you cannot stop laughing because it's so funny? It's contagious. There are great ways to make you laugh. I'm going to throw in a couple of my favorite slogans. Another great slogan. You're only young once, but you can be immature forever. Yes, I live by that. Yes, I'm calm too. So, commercial break. We're having a contest to win my books. My books here. Commercial break. Raising Happy Toddlers. Raising Happy Toddlers in Spanish. Right. Oh, wait. We already did that one. Upside Down with Mr. Brown. Hold on. I am grateful. All About Me. Being Different is Fun. My children's books, my parents' books, you get them all. But you got to make a video, short video, about how valuable you have found these sessions. And tag I'm Calm Too, post it on Instagram. And I think we're supposed to do at Day of Calm. What are we supposed to do else? Put that in there, Anupam. And do that. And we're going to be saving all these videos we see. Share it out with your people. We know people. We know people that know people. So share it out with your people. Tag Day of Calm, add as a collaborator. Okay. Do they know what that means? Okay. Because I don't. So for questions, please ask Anupam. All right. So best medicine, quick review. Stuff is funny. Laugh at it. Don't be afraid to laugh at home. Don't be afraid. You know, I tell you not to ridicule. Ridicule is different than finding things funny. Another great slogan that we live by in my family. It's only funny until someone gets hurt, and then it's hysterical. And sometimes we're laughing so hard we can't help the person because we're too busy laughing. We have many examples of that. But laughter breaks the mood. If your kids are out of control, start laughing. If they're crying, start laughing. Sharing is caring. Thank you, Nick. Sharing is caring. Share. Babies and pets. Yes. Laughter is so good. Babies with pets laugh. Yeah, those are awesome. Aren't they? They're so sweet. They warm our little hearts. Oh, you laugh all day with your baby. That's so good, Izzy. I'm so glad. Because, you know, a kid should come home to a happy home. That's part of why we're doing all this, is so that you can be a more calm, happier person. And if you are more calm, you are happier with yourself, you are feeling good about yourself. That shows. Your children will see it. If you are all stressed out and you know how people, that saying that says you can slice it with a knife, your children feel that atmosphere of stress, and then they become stressed. They feel everything you feel. And if you're laughing, they're laughing. If they're laughing, start laughing with them. If they're doing funny things, encourage it. If they're being goofy, be goofy too. Don't grow up so fast. Be playful, be fun. Sit on the floor and play with your child. Sit on the floor and play with your partner. in whichever way you'd like to. That is between you and your partner. But have fun with each other. Laughter is the best medicine. There is not a thing in your body that is not enhanced and made better through laughter. Laughter is the best medicine. So I want you to laugh more, do funny things, sing funny songs. When you're reading a book, read it silly, make up different voices, be expressive, talk more, laugh more, and tell jokes around the dinner table. What a fun way to get things laughing, right? Encourage jokes. Buy riddle books, buy joke books. Even bad jokes are still funny because they're bad. The simple reason they're bad is because they're funny. They're jokes that have gone on forever. Here's one. I'll tell you one. This is like a vaudeville joke. And for those of you that are not old and didn't live when dinosaurs roamed the earth like me and I think my sisters are on here. My older sister you met yesterday, Maddie, she lived even more with dinosaurs because she's older. Here's a joke. Okay. Wait a minute. Gotta remember it. Gotta get my brain working. Oh, doctor calls a patient and he says, okay, good news or bad news? What do you want first? And the doctor says, and the patient says, well, I guess I'll take the good news. He goes, okay, the good news is you got 24 hours to live. He goes, that's the good news? What's the bad news? The bad news is I forgot to call you yesterday. Ha, 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 ha. Good one, right? Good one. See, jokes, they're funny. Things are funny. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Go with 11. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm glad you. Oh, thank you for saying that my brain actually works, Nick. I appreciate that comment. But you're young, Celia. I am young in spirit. I love you, ma'am. You always inspire me with your said. Thank you, Kiran. I love you too. Group hug. Everybody give a group hug. Here, hug yourself. Pat yourself on the back. Say, good job. Good job. You're doing a great job. Want to level up your parenting job? Oh, okay. I didn't have to read that. That was like a selfless plug for. You know what's great about these sessions is I become totally delirious at the end. Last year, gosh, you missed last year. We went from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And let me tell you, by 7 p.m., I was a wild woman. Anyway, somebody said something about diet. What was that? What was that comment? Oh, it's that one from Nick. Eat a diet of light fruits and vegetables, and coconut is really good for you. Breathe deeper and slower and laugh louder and more often. Cheers to that, my friend. Cheers to that. So I want you to laugh more. Matter of fact, make a joke right now. There, see, this is selfless promotion. Just join my stuff here. Join it. Linda's laughing. Linda's my other sister. She's going, ha, ha, ha. And connect with your kids. Yes, this is my true self. I'm not in serious mode. This is it. This is what you got. This is what you got. This is what you got. I'm an awesome grandma, though. I'm really good. People love me. My grandkids are coming today. Yay. My two babes. So fun with grandkids is coming up. All right, guys. So we leave you with this. Laughter is the best medicine, period. Does anyone have any questions about laughing? Anyone have a good joke to tell? Ask Alexa to tell you a joke. Yeah. I need plant medicine. Go on, Lynn. I do take like mushroom supplement, and I eat mushrooms, which I used to never do because I thought they were squinchy and gross. But then I became healthy and decided I should eat them. Yeah. Alexa, if you just say to Alexa knows I don't have one in my house because don't want one. and I can say Alexa without her answering me, you just say, Alexa, tell me a joke. And you know what? She does. She does. She tells you a joke. Of course, she's always listening, so she'll tell you a lot more too. Thank you, Izzy. Love you. Yes, my permanent phases. I'm in the goofball phase. So I want you to laugh more. I want you to tell jokes with your kids. I want you to find what they do funny and play with them. You know, people think that you can't play anymore. And do you know, according to Einstein, his quote, and I may not be quoting it perfectly, is play is the highest form of research. I'm pretty sure that's the quote by Einstein. And if you get my book, Raising Happy Toddlers, how to stop yelling at how to build great parenting skills, have to read the title, and stop yelling at your kids, because you know I'm on a mission to help you all stop yelling. It's bad for you. Stop it. If you get my book, in chapter, I don't even know what chapters, this book is written like a manual, guys. So literally look up whatever's bugging you, look it up, and you will find successful solutions. It is literally like a manual. It's telling a joke. I know. So if you look up play in this book, which is in section 3, fun and learning, chapter 18, it gives you about 35 reasons why play is incredibly important to children. Every single thing a child can learn through play. Oh, thank you, Karen. I really appreciate it. So everything that you want your child to learn can be learned through play. And when it's learned through play, it is absorbed faster to the brain, and it is held in the brain as a strong memory. Stuff that is not learned through play is a tougher remember for kids. I don't like getting angry, so whenever I start getting angry, I walk away. Good. And speak of that, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Friday, we have 3 more great sessions tomorrow. I'm one of them. Thank you. So tomorrow we have 3 great sessions. Wendy Olagi of Nigeria, incredible parenting coach. My sister by another mister, however that thing goes. She will come back with me. We are going to help you stop yelling once and for all at 11 a.m. If you know a yeller, you know somebody who's always yelling at their kids, you know somebody who's like, it is not possible. It is possible. Invite them to the last day of this summit. All right, guys, I'm going to let you all go, eat, sleep, whatever it is, whatever times you're in. I've really enjoyed being here with you guys today. I am eternally grateful for you taking time out of your busy schedule to spend time here with us, learn how to be the best human you can be so that you can be a role model for all the other humans walking the earth. I am proud that you're here, and I am blessed that you're here, and I am wishing all of you days filled with peace, love, and tons of laughter. Really is the best medicine, and you just learned why. Have a wonderful Ramadan, very happy Passover, and a beautiful Easter. And we'll see you here tomorrow, bright and early at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, 6 Pacific, and whatever other time zone you're in. Come back, share this out, live what you learned today. Take one tip and live it and incorporate it into your life. We'll see you here next time. Thank you for being here.
My name is Rose, a teacher Brilliant School, a Lake Brilliant School. Though we have some challenges like little salary, poor school structures, and lack of enough seats, our school would do better if we have enough reliable support. Happy International Council.
Friends, this is our school garden. You can see the corns. Wow, when they grow up, we're going to enjoy them. Thank you. This is Africa. You can see the beautiful mountain Rwenzori, the tea plantations. Hey!
My name is Atoile Joseph, the current head teacher, Brilliant Nasaran Primary School. My school or the school has enrollment of 385 pupils, and it merged to become the best in our community.
May God bless America, may God bless Europe, may God bless Asia, may God bless Africa, may God bless Uganda, may God bless Brilliant Nursery and Primary School. We love you all.